Guys, welcome back to the Not So Subtle Podcast. You're here with your boys, Colter Potter. That's me, dude. And then we have Dane LaPointe.
Hello, boyos.
And then we have Jordan Miller.
What up?
What's up, guys? Today, we're going to be talking about, as we usually do, pop culture. A lot of cultural phenomenons happening in this episode.
A lot of culture today.
Some video games. A lot of video games happening today within the film that we watched.
Video game culture.
That's right. And
Let's
then movies. And we're going to wrap them all up into one with one big old movie. Guys, we watched the film Ready Player One, and we're going to talk about it.
Hell yeah.
We have a lot of opinions. We're going to say a lot about it.
We have a lot to say.
This movie was directed towards us, and
Speak for yourself.
We'll go ahead and see if it hit the mark or not. Guys, but first, we're going to be talking some lightning round questions.
Let's go.
It'll have our coworkers shooting from the hip.
That's right.
And hopefully Jordan as well.
Yeah. Guys, stall.
I'm always shooting at
Jordan,
the hip.
you need to shoot from the hip at least once.
I'm shooting. This episode is like a melting pot of all our things together, just synthesizing it into one.
Well, okay, yeah, it could be. It could be
one easy to swallow pill, if you will.
An easily digestible solution.
Yeah, an easily digestible edible.
Guys,
let's go.
During this segment of the podcast, shut up.
Sorry.
During this segment of the podcast, we like to do some little icebreaker lightning round questions to get us.
I don't like it when
up.
you call them icebreakers.
Well, that's a good way to explain it.
What they're
I
called.
get that. No, I get that, and I don't
How
like
about
it.
you close your ears and I'll tell them what we're going to be doing. During this section of the podcast, we like to spur little conversations, just a little relatable convos, icebreakers.
Some icebreakers.
All right, Dane, you can uncover your ears for question number 1, which is
Shoutouts to elfster.com.
Shoutouts to elfster.com.
Hit the affiliate link below.
The first question is dark chocolate or milk chocolate. This is
Milk chocolate.
This is basic.
It's milk chocolate.
It depends.
No, it doesn't.
If it's like, I would say milk chocolate most of the time, but like, okay, so here's an example. The other day at the store, I got some milk chocolate covered pretzels.
Okay.
But they were drizzled with dark chocolate.
That's not fair.
And so I was like, oh, this is the perfect combo. Like, this is the perfect marriage of chocolate. Mm-hmm. So, if you're having like some like, let's give some examples here. Chocolate cake. It can only be better with some like chocolate, like some dark chocolate frosting or icing or something like that. Chocolate ice cream, maybe some dark chocolate chunks.
I feel like this question is strictly based on like a Hershey's bar or something like that. Like,
yeah, I know. And so like if I'm having it by itself, I think a lot of people would probably say milk chocolate.
Yeah,
but dark chocolate is pretty damn good.
It's okay
in combo with other things.
Yeah, I don't know.
By itself,
I've rarely just enjoyed a good old piece of dark chocolate.
Yeah,
dark chocolate.
The thing is, like with dark chocolate, especially like dark chocolate, it gets to the point where it's like doesn't really taste like chocolate anymore.
It's not sweet.
Like it's not. Yeah, it's not sweet. So I feel like that's not really fair.
Have you ever seen those like 75% cacao?
Yes.
Choco bars?
Those things are intense, dude. You eat one of those and like you feel like you've been transported to the rainforest where it was sourced.
Yeah. Indonesia.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. I mean, I get the appeal, but at that point, like Jordan was saying, it's like it's not really candy anymore. Like it's its own.
You're having an experience.
Yeah, it's like that's the kind of shit you drink at like Starbucks Reserve or something, like some like culinary ass shit, which is fine. I get it.
Keep stalling.
Milk chocolate.
Colter.
Milk chocolate is the way to go for sure. Because like just by itself, I would never like if I was at 7-Eleven and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pick up a Hershey's bar. First of all, I would get the cookies and cream Hershey's bar.
We know that. I know that.
No brainer. But if they were out, I'm just like, here's a regular just milk chocolate Hershey's bar. I wouldn't go for dark chocolate because it doesn't taste as good by itself.
Yeah, that's my point. Like dark chocolate, good by itself. The obvious choice is milk chocolate. Okay, there's no question there.
That's right.
That's
for most people, I think.
I was gonna say like if there is a choice like between dark or light chocolate in like a candy bar, are there any candy bars that you would like choose dark chocolate?
I don't think.
I mean,
so.
I would probably try it. Like I feel like
a midnight Milky Way.
Yeah, those are good.
I don't know if I've ever had one.
Those are pretty good. I mean, like that's what I mean. It's when you have like something that's when you have something that has like primarily dark chocolate, like a Midnight Milky Way or whatever. Like the other stuff complements it, and it's just as good, if not better, than milk chocolate.
Yeah.
But like a straight up Hershey's bar, I would never choose dark chocolate over milk chocolate.
All right. Sometimes on this segment, we like to criticize Elfster because some of these questions are lowest common denominator, terrible pieces of garbage.
Are you gonna read one?
And the next question is, say something cool.
That's so.
This is the most cringe thing
That's
I've
so
ever read.
bad. What would you? No one would shoot from their hip at a coworker event. No one would be like,
I guarantee you some, like...
what would they say?
Some
What would you
person
say?
is going to just say, like, the dumbest thing known to man.
Someone's gonna be like, dude, I like bacon or something. Like, it's like, wow,
That is cool.
okay.
I would say my form is Gundam, and then I would transform into
Oh
a
my
Gundam.
God.
Oh, nah.
That's a
I
sneak
choose the
peek for
form-
later, boys.
I choose
Let's
the
go.
form Gundam.
I choose the form Gundam.
I choose the form.
I choose the form Guangdong with 64 GB RAM.
Dedicated wham.
Da-da-da-da wham. How much
Okay.
da-da-da-da wham I need to serve?
If you haven't seen it, gentlemen that are watching, please look up, what is it?
Really?
Dedicated
Gentle
wham.
ladies and gentlemen and
Gentle
other.
people.
And gentle peeps.
That's right.
All kind people.
Please look
And
up...
frogs.
Please look up Dedicated Wham. W-A-M.
Exactly as it sounds.
Exactly as it
Dedodated
sounds.
wham.
Yes.
Prepare for a fun chuckle.
That's right.
Prepare for the ride of your life.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Prepare for Mr. Toad's wow wide.
The
Why
bar,
with the Y?
the bar is pretty low for the next question, so
Yeah.
Good, because this one's not too great. Polka dots or stripes?
Polka dots. No, stripes.
What are we talking about? Like a clown outfit?
I don't know. Like a shirt.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's hard.
If you had to do like a shirt,
Like-
a button up.
Yeah, I mean, I like both are pretty lit, depending on like the color, I guess.
I mean,
Both are pretty
Both
lit.
are pretty
Polka dots. What?
Both are pretty lit, dude. No, I feel like okay, if I'm doing like, I don't mean like giant, like cartoony
yeah,
ass
like
polka
the
dots,
classic
like
polka dot you imagine. I
like-
would never wear anything.
exactly.
With that
But I feel like that's
pattern.
not what polka dot really is
like
anymore.
if it had
like-
just had dots on it. Like I have shirts with just like small dots on there.
yeah,
and but
even if they were multicolored, I'd
yeah,
still wear
like
that.
a striped shirt. Not sure honestly if I would wear that too much. I'm not a big fan of just like stripy stripes.
I don't like striped shirts, but like I would rock some like pinstripe suit pants.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Yeah, if I had to wear a suit for some occasion, not
Sure.
anything that makes me look like Al Capone or something.
What about the mask?
Sure, yeah, why not?
You don't get that reference. You clearly haven't seen the mask.
I don't. I haven't seen The Mask. We talked about this.
We have to watch the mask.
Somebody stop me. Lols.
Like I know a lot of the quotes,
From
and I know
the-
a lot of the scenes, but I haven't seen the movie.
A Tommy gun. All right.
It was the Masked Man,
Is that a quote?
or it was the Third Man, or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a quote.
I saw it when I was young, and I only liked
Yeah.
the Jim Carrey parts where like he's the masked man, and then everything else was just a piece of garbage.
That's all
That's,
I remember.
That's probably how the actual movie is.
It has very bad reviews.
Yeah.
and probably because of that.
I'm sure it's bad.
It's because people are haters. It was ahead of its time. It's a trendsetter in the
It
industry.
was the perfect Jim Carrey vehicle, but
Okay.
other than that,
It was a landmark cinematic achievement.
That is
for
true.
Jim.
For old Jimbo.
And now we're
For
all just
Jimbo.
tetrahedrons floating through the atmosphere.
Dude. Okay, Jim Carrey.
Lost
when
it.
Look, he's woke as fuck. He's the
Yeah.
he's the definition of woke.
He is woke.
He is so woke.
He's the
that guy
definition of tetrahedron.
that
He's
guy
too
has
woke.
ascended
Yeah.
the mortal realm, and he's become something far greater.
He looks at us and we're just all tetrahedrons to him, but he's fucking woke.
Yeah,
I
it's
love how
woke.
he looked at that woman at the thing, and he was like, "You're nothing. You're not real."
Just love it, dude. Just one of the best interviews I've ever seen.
It's one of the most
Easily.
savage.
It's
top
so
10
it's
most
so
savage.
good. Like you can just tell the way he's handling himself. He has nothing to lose. He doesn't care.
He's a nut.
at all.
Jim Carrey's
It's
a nut.
amazing.
He's a nut.
Just great
He's a
stuff.
nutty boomer.
Jimbo, if you're listening,
You're a nut.
I'm real proud of you. You're a nut boy. You're a nutty boomer.
You're a nut boy. This says, would you go to a movie alone? We've already discussed this.
Yeah, I would.
We've discussed that.
I would do it, but have you done it?
No.
That's right.
I have never done it, but
That's right.
I think the last time didn't we?
We don't have
This-
to do.
did
We've
this
done
question pop up?
Yes, multiple. We've talked about this at length.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was gonna say like during the. I'm pretty sure I said on the podcast that during awards season there were multiple movies that I considered going to alone for no reason. I don't know why. And I didn't do it.
When you were like about to get up to like go do it, you're like, man, am I
Be like-
really gonna do
I'm
that?
like, man, is this my lowest point? Sure is.
Sure is. All right. What What's a country you'd be okay never visiting in your life? There's so many.
That's a savage.
almost all of them.
I'm going to go with
Most of them.
probably Russia.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say I would never want to go
You're never
to
going to
Russia.
go to the Kremlin?
Why not?
No desire.
You
You
probably
wanna
can't
see-
go to the Kremlin.
You don't want to see like cool Russian stuff?
I feel like there's a
You're
lot of
not gonna
reasons
go to
right now,
Volskaya Industries?
specifically in this Volskaya Industries, in this day and age. I feel like the political and
Pretty soon you're not
global
gonna-
climate of like the U.S. and Russia
Yeah.
specifically is probably not very safe. And I also just like there's nothing I want to see in Russia.
Yeah.
And I don't really care about like this is gonna sound terrible. I don't care about like their culture or like any of their history enough to want to go
Got
there.
him.
That's pretty rude of you.
I just
but-
don't care.
I don't care about
I don't
their
care.
culture.
I don't care.
Balls. Yeah. No.
And all Russian people are rude.
Almost all balls. Almost all
Keep
countries.
digging the hole, please.
I would probably be okay never visiting another country besides U.S. and Japan and Canada and England. That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
Yes.
Really?
I feel I don't know, like because I like to travel, and I like, as opposed to Dane, I do like to see other cultures.
I love seeing other
regardless-
cultures. I just don't care
except
about Russia.
Except
I don't
Russia's
care about
culture.
Russia.
So
You
I
want to
don't
see
know.
some nesting dolls? Isn't that Russian?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't
Nailed it.
think of one off the top of my head. Where I'm just like, oh, I don't want to go there. Mm-hmm. Like I'm sure there's like some random country that I can't think of. I'm like, there's no reason. Wakanda. I would go to Wakanda.
I feel like a lot of the places that I would say that I wouldn't want to go to would just be places that I don't think would be very safe. Like places like the Middle East or something like that,
Sure.
where like especially right now or like over the past
dare you.
over the past 10 years,
No,
it
yeah,
probably wouldn't be very
for
safe
sure.
to go to certain places in the Middle East.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't like if someone was like, yeah, we're gonna go to like,
Jamaica.
yeah, I would be like, fuck yeah, like let's go
Let's
to
go,
Jamaica. If
dude.
someone was like, let's go to like
Virgin Islands.
Afghanistan, I'd be like, well, where in Afghanistan are we going?
Yeah.
Like, I would maybe want to go there, but I wouldn't like jump at the opportunity. I'd be a little scared.
Pack your bags, boys.
Pack your bags. We're going to Iraq.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, I don't know about that.
strictly for safety reasons, there's more than a few countries I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to go to. But
Yeah,
I mean,
which is like sad. I mean, I guess that's a little disappointing because
outside of the scope of that, I can't think of one where I was like, no, I don't want to go there.
yeah,
'Cause
exactly. Like I would
sure
just
there's something
just
cool.
about anywhere. If someone was like, "Do you want to go like so and so?"
Except
Like,
Russia.
I have a cheap ticket to go to Russia. I'd be like, "Well, I don't know about that, but
Like,
anywhere
just
else,
throw it in the
I'd,
trash,
I'd be
please.
down."
I don't know about
I don't
that.
know about that.
What about South Africa?
I think that would actually be cool. Johannesburg,
Sure.
Yeah.
Johannesburg, however you say it.
Johannesburg.
Johannesburgs.
All right, guys.
Even though I
don't
have
wanna
heard
go to
that's
any of
also
them.
not safe.
Listen,
For
a lot
tourists.
of places aren't safe.
Yeah, which is fine.
Buck up.
Listen,
I mean, it's not
fine-
like I'm gonna be like on a Rick Steves tour and be like afraid to like venture out and like get pickpocketed or something. But I also don't want to go somewhere where my life is in danger.
Fair enough.
So
I was gonna say I'm fine right here. I can go to Chick-fil-A, get myself a nice
just-
little chicken sando.
yeah.
Go
Every-
home, play
every
some
Wednesday?
PUBG. What's better than that?
Nothing.
a whole lot of things.
Literally nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing has reached that peak of humanity.
Oh, maybe North Korea.
That's right. I don't think you can go there.
No. Well,
Not easily.
That might
Oh
change.
yeah, they have
that
some
might
like
change soon.
tourism shite that like is set up or whatever.
Yeah, but it's completely staged and weird
Yeah,
as hell.
Yeah. Honestly, that might be. I don't want to take this on a further tangent, but that would be one of the reasons I want to go there is because
To see that tour.
Yeah, the few videos I've seen of people actually getting to go there, like it's bizarre the way you get treated as an outsider.
Do you know we watched that one from Vice
Yeah.
where they went there and like they went to that the grocery store where all
Yeah.
of the like boxes
everything
are
is
fake?
posed. Like everything was like placed where like, oh, here's like this huge banquet, and like a bunch of the food was just fake food, and like, but it was like this
Have
huge
you ever seen
banquet. That
I
documentary.
haven't seen that specifically.
That
no.
documentary was like
it's wild.
like melted my brain.
I
It
highly
was-
recommend watching because it's just fucking.
It's
It's,
insane.
fascinating to see like just like this is an insane like theatrical like play being put on for
Like
these
that
people.
whole thing. Like, did you watch the interview?
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Remember
right
when they
after.
went to that
Yeah.
store and they were like, the apples are fake or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, it was literally that, but it was real. It was an entire grocery store with like hollow boxes and fake items of food, and like you would
that's
take it
nut.
up. You would take it up to like
That's
the
a nut boy.
It's insane. That's a nut boy. You take it up to the register and like they would just be like, yeah, like they would just like be like, okay, sure,
Yeah.
like they want it. Yeah, they just like thumbs up and be like, can I buy this? And like there's nowhere to take money. There's nowhere to like pay for anything because none of it is real, and it's just like the weirdest. It's so strange. It was uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
So maybe I would want to see that.
That's my
I don't
top
know.
3 places to visit. No, not at all. I'm fine. I'm fine where I'm at.
I'm fine
Thanks.
here.
I'm finding an undisclosed area of Washington.
Nice. Good recovery.
Okay, would you... This one's kind of funny. Would you rather eat some smoky gnocchi or some delish fish? Who wrote this?
Smoky gnocchi?
What's
Who did
smoky
this?
gnocchi?
Look, Elfster, you're really dropping the ball
gnocchi.
here.
Gnocchi. Okay.
I think it's gnocchi.
Yeah. I was like, what the f is smoky? I thought you were like smoky nachos. I had a
Smoky nachos.
I had a day old moment right there. I was
day
like, what are you talking about?
Would you rather have some day-old smoky gnocchis?
Some day old
or
gnocchi.
Smoko nachos.
Do you want some smoko gnocchis?
What was the other option? Fish?
Some
Delish
delish
fish.
fish. Like
Yeah.
dish fish.
Yeah.
some dish fish?
I'm a big fish fan, so I would absolutely
Look,
take
you're
that
a
over
big-
gnocchi.
You're a nut boy.
Look,
Yeah.
you have a
You're a
fish to
boy.
fry with
fish.
with smoky gnocchi.
You're a
Yeah.
halibut boy.
That's it. Halibut
Let's go.
boy.
Let's go.
Ayo.
Wait.
Let's go.
Halibut boy. Wow.
I don't know
Halibut
about
boy.
that.
Ain't no halibut boy. Let's go. Gwen Stefani's classic
Wow,
song. Let's
I
go.
know halibut boy.
You just vomited words. But have you guys had gnocchi though?
I don't know what that is.
I think I might have, but I'm not sure actually.
I think it's. I don't know what it's made out. I just hit the mic. I hit the mic. It's made out
Is
of
it
like
pasta?
some sort. Yeah, it's like kind of pasta-ish. But it's like
oh,
the
you know
inside
what?
is like
Hold on.
potato or
I'm gonna
something.
look this
Pasta
up.
adjacent.
Yeah, please tell us what's inside. Because I always get when I go to Olive Garden the chicken and gnocchi soup,
Okay.
and it's delectable.
Smoked gnocchi, is that what they call it?
Yeah. Smoky gnocchi.
Well, I think smoky was just their own adjective
Yeah.
to make it into a fun little
So,
gag.
dude, some smoked salmon and vodka gnocchi. This looks fucking lit.
Well, that's both in one.
This looks so good.
Okay, but what's the gnocchi?
I don't
part?
know. I'm looking that up right now. Gnocchi.
We don't have the time.
Dana, I needed to know what gnocchi was yesterday.
If you can get fish and if you can get delicious
Okay,
fish and smoky
gnocchi are various thick, small, and soft dough dumplings that may be made from
Oh, yeah.
semolina,
Oh, okay.
ordinary
gonna say
wheat
that.
flour, egg, cheese, potato, breadcrumbs, cornmeal, or similar ingredients with or without flavorings of herbs, vegetables, cocoa, or prunes. So, okay, yeah. So I have had this before, and I was gonna say I've only ever had this in a soup, and it's basically like the way I've always thought of it is that it's like I've had have you ever had like baked potato, like cheddar soup or something like that? Like something similar to that. I've had that, and it always reminded me of gnocchi, but gnocchi is more like little like exactly what they said, like doughy balls.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just
Like
doughy
it's not
balls.
really anything that's like
They're
very
like kind of
flavorful.
soft and rubbery.
Yeah, and it's flavored mostly by like everything else that's in the dish. It's not usually like they're not usually like chicken flavored dough balls. It's just like
Noes.
if you have like the chicken broth or whatever in there, that's what they taste like.
That sounds okay.
Yeah.
I still think fish is my preferred choice.
That's just I feel like that's just an opportunity for someone to use
Smoky gnocchi.
just weird.
Someone was just having some fun with
Yeah,
that.
someone was
sentence.
just being
That's
a
all.
little goofster. they weren't like
Elfster.
they were being a
Little
goofster on
Elfster.
Elfster.com.
They
yeah,
took
I don't
their
know.
shot.
Yeah.
Like I
They're shooting
like
from the hip.
I like fish. Gnocchi is
Only
pretty
if
good
it's
too,
dish.
but I don't know. Probably fish. That's more substantial meal than.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Do you need help?
Okay, this says, if you were given the opportunity to fly into space, given today's technology, would you take it?
Sure. I mean, is it like go up there and stay? Like I don't
Yeah.
get it.
Are we getting? Is
I don't
this a round
understand the
trip?
question.
I mean, it says fly into space, so...
With today's
I mean,
technology.
Let's decide both ways, I guess.
Okay, well, if it was a one-way... You know what? Even if it was a round trip, with today's technology, I don't know if I would agree to that.
What if
'cause-
it was literally just like...
What do you mean?
A plane flight where you fly into space and then
Okay.
you go back down. What about that?
Yeah, I would definitely do that, because that's a real thing already, and that seems fun.
My eyeball.
But our technology today, like, we have rockets that can go to space, but, like, I don't know if I would trust someone to be like, hey, go ahead and go to space on this rocket ship from SpaceX or whatever. I'm like, okay, like, am I
ahead
going to
and
come
go to
back? Like, do we know for sure it's not going to blow
Okay,
up?
but
Like,
the way that they're describing this is what I think. I think of someone calling me, right? Like I'm at work or something, or I wake up and I see like a voicemail. It's like, hey, just wondering if you want to go to space like tomorrow. Just hit me
Oh,
up.
no.
Like, what's up? And I'd be like, I would just start panicking. I'd be like, oh God, I don't know. Like, do I want to go to space?
Yeah.
And then
we can barely get you to go to, like... the fucking mall, the fucking Chick-fil-A to go get food.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would just be
You're
like,
not going to space.
I would just be like,
on a
holy
dime.
fuck! Like I don't know if I'm prepared to go to go.
That would take a year.
I don't know if I'm prepared to go to
get
like
you into
my
space.
mailbox. I don't know like if I want to go to space, and then like I just imagine being thrust into space, but I've never done the training to make sure I don't fucking vomit all over the place.
Oh, you're gonna be peeing all over yourself.
Look, I'd be a fucking mess. I feel
You're
like
a
I
mess.
wouldn't want to go to space. I need a few years.
Yeah, if
worth
it was
of-
like a safe, like touristy type thing where they just flew you up there and you get to experience it for a little bit. Yeah, I would
yeah,
do
and you
that.
get like zero gravity for a few minutes,
Yeah,
and they're like,
yeah.
"Whoa, you can fly!" Like in your pajamas.
You can fly.
or whatever,
You can
yeah.
fly. You can fly. You can.
But if they're like, here's your space suit and good luck, and then they just shoot you into space, I'm like,
Okay, if it was by myself,
Just shoot
they just
if it was by myself, never.
yeah.
Ever,
you
never,
don't think you
ever.
can pilot a spaceship?
No. Even if it was on
Okay.
autopilot.
Wow, what a noob.
Even if they were like, yeah, we're gonna put this on autopilot, there's gonna be an AI on this ship that'll like help you do all
That'll
the shit.
kill
I'm like,
you.
no, I've seen 2001: A Space Odyssey, even though I haven't. I know that it'll go awry.
Good luck getting to Mars.
Hal, open
Yeah,
the
seriously.
fucking door.
Yeah, HAL 2000 is gonna
I'm
fuck
not
my
going
ass.
to do that.
I'm not.
Sorry,
I'm
Dave.
not.
I cannot do that.
Let's put 2001 on the list. I don't think it's on there.
It is.
It is
Oh,
on
it's
there.
on there
It's
already.
one of the first ones we put on.
Okay, listen, I don't remember.
Listen,
Clearly.
we don't all know every movie on the list.
I know
That's why
most
it's
of
a
them.
surprise.
Okay,
Guys,
name all of them. Don't.
The Wacky Film List is a list of films that we made that we want to watch, and we pull one out of a bag every day, randomly. Not every day, every week.
I wish every day.
And then we watch it. This week, we didn't watch a movie. We did watch a movie, but it wasn't the one that we picked out of our Wacky Film bag last week, which was Nightmare on Elm Street, which we will be hopefully watching next week.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty solid.
We got the agenda
solid
set.
chance of us watching that.
That's right. But yeah, as far as space goes,
I don't know,
man, I don't think I need to go to space. I don't need to go to like other countries, so much less
Let
space.
alone space.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. I think it would
Let me
be
go to
cool-
Mars real quick.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
I think
I
it
feel
would be
like-
cool to see Earth from space, and that's about it.
I would want to go up there with someone with a flat
What
earther
about-
just so I could be like, what do you have to say?
What do you have to say?
What do you have
for
to say?
yourself?
I mean, like, well, it still looks flat from here, so
And I'll be
I
like,
can
okay,
only see
take
one
us
side
around,
of it.
Jimbo.
like you're just looking at it from the top down. It's flat.
We're gonna need to circumcise the globe here.
Yeah, circumcise.
Hang on.
Hold
What
on.
if it was a trip to the International Space Station and you get to chill with fucking whatever that guy's name was that did the YouTube videos?
Okay, here's a dumb question.
That would be cool.
Here's a really dumb question. Are there people on the International Space Station right now who have been there for like years that have never gone back to Earth?
I don't think. I
Or
think
do
every
they go-
person who's gone up there has come back down to Earth at one point. Like they don't stay up there forever.
Yeah.
Right, like I knew that they
have, like, a
I knew that
tour
they
of
obviously
duty.
come back at some point because right now we're not at the point where someone is like, okay, go to space and never come back. But like, has anyone on there right now not come back yet? Like, have they been on
Probably.
that ship for like 10
Oh,
years
you
or
know
like
what?
5 years or whatever it is?
I'm actually not sure because we the United States hasn't sent like a ship up there in a long time. Like NASA hasn't done anything for a while, so I'm not sure. if
Yeah,
they have
so I'm
people up
wondering,
there.
like, are they just chilling and they're like, some guy up there has been like, well, it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't know when I'm going back to Earth or whatever.
there might
Like,
not be
that's-
anyone up there right now. I'm not sure. I'm not
Okay.
certain.
I'm curious about that.
They're just.
That's
How
something
could
that you-
anyone like that life better than living?
Yeah.
on
Well, that's
Earth?
what I mean, but like that's so fascinating to me because that's something you never think about. You never think of like, oh, as you're doing your daily like working and like driving around and everything. You never think about like, I wonder what Jeff is doing up on the space station.
Oh,
He's
he's
been on
just
there for like however many
in
years,
space.
like just chilling. Like,
Yeah.
what I don't even know what they do up on
This
the.
is literally like the plot of Cloverfield Paradox. They discuss this in
Whoa.
the film.
That's
Did someone
inter-
just fart?
No,
I mean,
I heard a
I don't
sound.
know why you asked that question because
Wow, how dare someone fart in my vicinity?
would be you.
how
li-
dare the kettle fart the pot?
Hey
black?
guys,
How dare the
I
kettle
farted
fart?
directly in Dane's mouth earlier.
In
Not
his
mouth,
radius.
but I
was-
backed up on Dane.
It was within like 2 feet of
You
my
danger close to
maybe
you.
a foot of my mouth.
It was also good because I've never done that, so like you had no clue what was coming.
I
your
didn't
way.
know. I didn't know that you were capable of that.
You just thought Colter was like backing up to like adjust something, and then just hear,
Yeah, I thought he was just backing up that ass real nice, and then
and then
he betrayed me.
he just bombed you.
That's right.
All right.
I was about to
You
ask.
crop dusted me, but not even because you were stationary.
Kids, get out of the room for a minute. What if a girl backed up on you and then farted? No, this is
Not
too
a fan
much.
of farts. Not a fan of farts.
Why does it have to be a girl, Colter?
I mean, what?
No, I'm wondering, why is it funny?
All right, man.
You've been called.
Why is it funny? It wasn't supposed to be funny.
Why is it funny?
It's funny because the audacity of the question that I would assume their gender. That's
Yeah.
the audacity.
That's the audacity. It's not even that they would back up and fart. It's just that you thought it would
Back
only
up
be a
and
woman.
fart. That's that they would throw it in reverse and let out a fart.
I just was curious why you said that. I don't know.
The fart pushes the poop out. So.
It's just science.
I can't listen to that. I can't.
Bill Nye classically said in his
The fart pushes the poop out.
1995 biopic that the fart pushes the poop out every time.
Without fail.
Without fail, the fart pushes it out, man.
If you have excrement in your system, the fart will push it out.
That's
It's just no question.
That's right.
fart. The fart is going to push that right on out. All right, guys. We've successfully
Farted.
indicated...
Alienated all of our audience over the age of 12.
That's right. And good riddance.
Jesus.
Got him. No, just
Got
kidding.
him.
Well,
If you're
it'll be the
12,
perfect age group to listen to our Ready Player One review.
Got him. Actually,
him.
yeah, you guys need to come back for our Ready Player One review because got him.
It's going to be lit.
It's gonna be a hot fart.
I feel like it's going to be a hot fart. It's going to be a spicy one.
It's going to be a spicy meat fart.
Let's move on, please.
Yeah, we're going to move on to our next topic, which is the topic of the evening. The new film, Ready Player One, directed by Steven Spielberg.
Spielsmans.
Based on the classic book that hasn't been out that long, so it's not a classic at all.
It's not.
By Ernest something.
Klein.
Ernie
Patsy Cline.
By Ernie Klein.
Reba McEntire.
Our old Ern.
By old Ernie.
Ernie goes to jail. Do you guys... Or Ernest. Remember those Ernest movies where it's Ernest goes to jail? Or
No.
All right.
Tell us about them.
Well, they're a slapstick film in the vein of Mr. Bean, where a character actor, who I don't know his name, is a gentleman named Ernest, and he is a jack of all trades, but also messes up at it a lot. So
that's...
hijinks ensues, for sure.
Yeah, that sounds like a recipe for comedy.
That's right. Guys, Ready Player One is
A recipe
film.
for comedy. Let's go.
Go ahead and tell us about this film, Dane.
Oof.
Where do I begin?
The beginning.
Well, way back in 2025. No, basically.
Before we start this, are we going to go deep into spoiler territory? Or
Yeah, that's the
deal?
other
We
thing I
can
was
start
curious
off light on the spoilinas.
Okay.
Okay,
Just
so
hit us with a spoiler warning before you drop one.
Sure, I won't do any spoilers
Before you
yet.
drop a hot one.
So basically,
did earlier.
a quick overview of the movie is a young man, young boy named Wade
cis
Watts,
white male.
a cishet male, lives in Columbus, Ohio, in a trailer park, and he's living in a part of the world that's racked by overpopulation, and the world kind of sucks ass. So a lot of people decide, okay, world kind of sucks ass. I'll just go inside my Oasis VR headset. And so there's this whole VR headset that they put on, but the whole VR headset that they go into is a big game called the Oasis, and it's a big game. And it's kind of like an MMO, but it's not really an MMO. It's like,
basically
it's
VR
like,
chat.
It's
Yeah,
basically
it's
like
a social
it's
hub.
basically like Second Life,
Yeah.
but in VR. And you have put on a shoe, and you can like feel like what you're doing if you have a cool shoe, unless you're poor and you just have a regular one with the gloves and the helmet. And so everyone does this game, right? This Second Life.
I commend you for continuing this bit
VR
for as long as you
VR
are right
headset,
now.
and it's pretty cool. But then the creator's like, he dies, and everyone's like, oh, it's pretty sad because the creator's a really popular guy, and he's kind of like a Steve Jobs like nerdy guy. And he's like, okay, I hid my my money in the game, and you have to find these.
money.
You have to find these keys and a little Easter egg.
He didn't hide his money
and
in
you
the
get,
game.
And you get well.
He buried his money in the game.
He hid a little thing, and if you get it, you get all his money, and you get the game.
Where you get some stock. All of his stock.
It's pretty much all of his money.
Sure.
and so Wade Watts.
Oh, sorry.
Wade Watts and
Excuse me.
his friends decide to try to find all these keys to get all his money and the Easter egg, and it's about that. It's about that. But
Also, we know nothing about the main character other than he's a cis white male, and therefore worthy of our approval.
yeah, he's a cishet white male. No, but the book was popular because it was a celebration of nerd culture, essentially.
That's right.
And some would say, some like Jordan would say, it's quite pandering, and just like, every other page it's like, oh, Battletoads, or
I actually have a screen cap of one of the pages that made me vomit while looking at it, because the writing in it is just like, say what you will about it being like a nostalgia grab for people.
Yeah.
There are literal like pages in this book where it's just like, here's like DeLorean, Knight Rider, Space Invaders, like this. It's all on this. It's like 10 old pop culture references on the same page. Like, it's not well written. That book is not a classic by any means. It's a fun, like, popcorn read, like this movie somewhat. But
yeah, like it's not like a, groundbreaking exploration of the impact nerd culture has had on society or anything. Like, it's not anything that groundbreaking, but it's an enjoyable read, and it's a fun little like book that you can read and talk to your friends about and things like that. It's like what's a water cooler book. And so there's just a lot of references to mostly 80s nerd culture or like pop culture. But I think because of it being a movie and a newer movie, they were able to, integrate like current pop culture and video game references and whatnot, film references. So some. So yeah, I don't know. It's basically like Video Game the movie, kind of.
It's like Wreck-It Ralph, except doesn't have quite the charm as Wreck-It Ralph.
That's exactly right. I was thinking of that earlier.
Kind
have
of.
you seen Wreck-It Ralph?
I haven't.
That's right.
From what I know of Wreck-It Ralph, I like Wreck-It Ralph more than this movie.
Got him.
It's a somewhat good description, probably.
I have seen both. Have you seen Wreck-It Ralph?
No, I watched it.
Yeah, you don't get to talk. So, I definitely think that Wreck-It Ralph is a much more charming movie. Also because it's directed at kids, so you're already looking at it through that filter. Whereas this movie is kind of like not. It's supposed to be directed at like all ages, and they definitely say shit a fair amount.
And they say fucking.
They said fucking once.
All
I believe,
PG-13 movies are allowed one F word.
That's right. Yeah. And they used it.
Yeah, which I was happy about.
You bet your fucking ass they used it. Who said it? Oh, I guess.
We can't.
Spoiler.
We can't.
Unnamed character.
Who said fuck? All right. Guys, how do we like this movie? Dane.
You're throwing us off.
Yeah, I didn't know where else to go.
Listen.
So first
turn.
off, I want to acknowledge that before I say anything, this is the exact type of movie that typically I know for a fact that I would say, wow, I hate that this exists. Like, I'm always the one to jump on like the bandwagon of hate against like Fast and Furious, or like
against quote unquote lowest common denominator.
Yeah,
movies.
exactly. And so like those kind of things I always get really upset about. And I guess I'm gonna be a little bit of a hypocrite because look, I didn't love this movie. It's not like an Academy Award winning movie. Some would say it's not even a good movie.
Squad.
That's true. This will not win an Academy Award like Suicide Squad did. Rest in peace. R.I.P. R.I.P. the Oscars.
R.I.P. the homie.
R.I.P. the homie.
Rip the homie.
Yeah. So I don't
Oski.
think this movie is incredible, but it had more heart than I was expecting it to in some ways, and I also enjoy my man Steve Spielman's. And I feel like he still has what it takes to helm interesting action sequences and some cool. Like there were definitely some parts of this movie where I was cringing and like some of like the dialogue I didn't think was very good, and there's a lot of like references where they just seem a little shoehorned in and things like that. But then there are other moments like there's this isn't a huge spoiler because. In the trailers they've shown off like the car chase with there's like a million cars flying around, there's like the wrecking ball flying through and everything, and I actually thought that car chase was really well directed. Like it was actually really exciting to watch. And that was pretty early on in the movie, so when that was going on I'm like, damn, this is gonna be pretty good. Like this is a really good scene, and there's no music or anything. It's just like really cool, like really intense scene with like a great sound effects and all this kind of stuff. And then throughout the movie, it kind of goes into predictable territory, especially after reading the book. Like, I knew all the beats and everything. So, from someone coming in fresh, there may have been some things, like, when you find out who the people are, like, behind the avatars in the game, that maybe that's a little, like, shocking or whatever. Or, like, seeing kind of the way the plot develops with, like, the main antagonist and things like that. Like, it might be a little surprising. But for me, I knew all that stuff. So, I was kind of just relying on, like, the visuals and like the way that they like basically just made everything come to life, and I was pretty happy with most of that. It was just this movie does fall into the lowest common denominator kind of thing that I'm upset about with most modern day movies, where it's like, you know, every so often it's like, oh my god, they had Tracer in there, or like they had like, I don't know, like the Iron Giant, or like whatever it is, and it's like I thought that I was gonna, and the reason like I am kind of upset with that is because I feel like that's what's gonna get a lot of people into this movie, and that's all they're gonna walk out of thinking. They're gonna walk out and be like, oh, that scene with Tracer was so cool, or that scene with like the Battletoads was so funny, even though they don't really focus on that too much. I feel like that was more of just, I don't know, like I for me, it's that
pandering.
It is, but for me, they didn't focus on that as like a selling point of the movie. In the movie, it was more like in the marketing and the trailers. Like in the actual movie, I felt pretty okay with those things because it wasn't like shoved in my face. Like you would see them for like a split second, if that, on the screen. They never had like a sequence where like one of them was an integral story character or something, like other than like maybe like the Iron Giant when they used him in multiple scenes. Like I felt like they used that stuff sparingly, and not sparingly, but they didn't add a lot of weight to it. So yeah. I was okay with that.
I was interested in the use of all the pop culture icons because Wreck-It Ralph, I feel like, did it a little bit better because they did actually have kind of stuff to do in the movie to some degree, I guess. None of the like licensed characters were main characters, obviously, but like it was always like, you know, oh, I recognize that character. Oh, they're doing something kind of interesting in this scene. And then maybe they like interact with one of our characters in an interesting way. And in this, it's like, oh, okay, there's Tracer.
Like, yeah, that's what I mean. And like, so part of me is like, okay, well, they're just throwing that in there because it's a video game like nerd movie and people are going to see that and like latch onto it. But then I'm also kind of happy that it wasn't like I'm happy that they didn't have a scene where Tracer was like in the group with them, and it's like, come on, Tracer, like we got to go with Artemis, and like all these people do things.
If she was like a main character, like it would be okay because then she'd be a main character.
Yeah, but like if they had just thrown in like shoehorned some scenes in there with like certain icons just to have them in there, I would have been more upset. And I would have been complaining more about this pandering to the lowest common denominator than if they had just done it the way they did and kind of like sprinkled them in there a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I'm okay with that. The problems that I had were just kind of cringe worthy.
The script is bad.
Like the script is not great. Like I feel like the actors are doing a decent, like most of the actors are doing a pretty good job. Ben Mendelsohn, I think, is pretty good. Like he's good in most things that he does.
Who's that?
The antagonist. Okay. The villain. Like I think he was in Rogue One. Like he's been in a lot of good roles, and I feel like he always does a good job. Like the main Wade and Artemis and all those guys, like I think they were pretty good. They were fine, but like they weren't given a lot to do. Soundtrack was good. I thought the CGI for the most part was pretty good. Like there's parts where it's just all CGI and very obvious, but they're also supposed to be in like the Oasis and in that VR thing. So I was able to forgive that a little bit, but I don't know. I expected to go in and be annoyed, but I found it to have a little more heart than I expected. Just I'm disappointed in some of the writing and some of the story beats.
Mm-hmm. Jordan, let's hear some of your mainline thoughts about this.
I'm like to a certain degree, I agree with Dane, but like only so far as in that like everything Dane says, like I'm just slightly less optimistic about the movie. Like I have a much more cynical look at it where it's like, oh, like Tracer got thrown in the movie for like 2 seconds, like you just got thrown in there, cash grab. Like it's just like pandering. Like, oh, like Jim Raynor from StarCraft is in there, cash grab. Iron Giant's in there, cash grab. Gundam's in there, cash grab. It's like every single person just thrown in there. I was just like, here's pop culture reference 1, 2, 3, up to like 99. Like there's just every single thing in there has no like heart. Like there's no depth to anything in there. It's just like they're just thrown in there, and then like you get a good kick out of saying Battletoad because everyone knows who Battletoad is now, I guess.
Yeah, if they did like anything at all within the like story, it would be cool. But since you literally just see it, like okay, I just saw the guy from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, it's like, oh, Freddy, Jason. Like, you can just count, like, if I had a checklist of, like, every character I've ever seen in a movie, I would check off 95% of the people, because you can see them in every single scene. It's like, there's so many, like, just random things in there. It's like, okay, like, it's not, like, I don't, for me to be like look at that and feel like an inclusion, like, oh, like I love like video games, I love like that culture, I look at it and go like, this is lame, like this is just like silly and like pandering. Like I don't want to feel like there's like, hey gamers, like you guys like video games, here's all this fun stuff in there, and like that's what it feels like to me, because everything is just like cheap.
And the thing is like I thought I would feel like that. And I'm not saying that I love the fact that there's like 4 million characters in here, but I also feel like that what they're trying to paint is that like, I think they're just trying to paint the scope and like the imaginative kind of world that they're in. And I guess this is me being a little optimistic, but like I didn't feel like they were doing that as like a big corporate kind of grab at like the audience or whatever. Like in the marketing, it definitely seems like that, and they definitely did do that. But then in the movie, like they never really. I don't know. It just kind of feels a little more natural to me than I thought it would. Like it's definitely like a little disjointed, and there's just random scenes of like Tracer running around, or like the Jim Raynor scene like was a little ridiculous. But then when I think about it, it's mostly just showing off like this fun world. Like it's a very stark contrast to like the shitty ass world that they live in. So all these people are just having fun, like emulating their characters and stuff that they like. So the fact that they didn't dive too deep into it kind of just speaks to the fact that it's just like a wide world that is in there, and it's just kind of like, of course there's going to be like someone who really likes Tracer or something and has their avatar be Tracer, or like, because your avatar can be whatever you want, so it's like of course someone's going to do fucking like Jason Voorhees or like Freddy Krueger or something.
Yeah. And like I get that, and that's why I said before we saw this movie, I, as a jest, you guys probably didn't think I was being serious, I was like, there's 2 types of people in this world: people who like Ready Player One, people who don't. Like you either like what they're doing and showing off that stuff, or you think it's like pandering, and like I don't think you can sit in between that and be like I liked it when they showed this character but not this one, because like you either are with it or you just from the get-go, like the first scene, like the car racing thing, at that point in the movie I was like, I'm bored to fucking tears right now, because I didn't like that at all. Like
you didn't like the car scene?
No, it's just because it's all just like garbage CGI, like racing, like whatever. I'd rather watch Fast and the Furious, which has real cars like doing stunts. Like this is just like, it's just silly.
But because of how like insane it was,
it wasn't that insane. Like it's just like things are blowing up. Like great. That happens in every movie ever. Like
I don't know. I mean,
I thought it was a legitimately
what about, like the movie Avatar? Did you think that like there was all those like full CGI scenes were like
those
cool?
Are better because they're like those are way more visually interesting and like beautiful looking and than what was happening in at any point during Ready Player One. Particularly the car scene. Like the car scene is just. It's just cars crashing like in explosions, like in CGI.
No, it's not anything like I said, it's not anything very novel. It's just like it is very. I think it's very well directed and interesting to look at. Like it's a lot of like cool camera movements with like things flying in and out, and like I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it is all CGI. But like
every frame is so dense.
No, but like that. Like I said, that opening scene, I was like, okay, this is dope. Like I like this a lot, but then it just kind of. They never reached those heights again. For me.
You know what that race reminded me of was Spy Kids 3D. They had a race.
Just don't even finish this.
That's a worse roast than I've been giving this movie.
That's just. I hate hearing that.
Spy Kids 3D is a nostalgic film from my youth.
Sure, yeah.
I think
it's all about video games. It's basically the Ready Player One of its time.
I think I'm being a little lighter on this movie than you guys probably are.
No,
and I expected, I will say fully, like,
I
know, but like, I will say that I fully expected to like be very cynical, like Jordan, and like most people probably are. Most people especially in our age range, are probably going to be very cynical towards this movie. And in a lot of ways, like in a few ways, I am, but I guess I'm being slightly more optimistic towards it than maybe some people are. I don't know.
Sure.
It's usually against what I would usually say.
Yeah, I think the fact that this is a book. Excuse me. The fact that this is a book kind of carries the story to some degree, because there's a lot of like narration and like, you know, they have so much to go off of in the book that sometimes it feels like they're like talking through all the exposition that like should be kind of like gone through in a slower, like more methodical situation. But the movie's still 2.5 hours long, so it's like, yeah, it's kind of weird.
Like to me, it felt like it was too fast at some points, because like one of the main things like in Ready Player One is like the relationship between Wade and Artemis, and like that goes from 0 to 100.
Yeah,
pun intended, because they meet during the car scene. it goes from 0 to 100 like in 2 scenes. Like
they want to like put it in as soon as
I was just they had zero chemistry. I was like, what is happening? Like already you guys have been on screen together for maybe 4 minutes. Like I just don't believe
they
it. They
did that better in the book.
Yeah, there's more time to develop that for what it's worth.
They actually did some pretty good character development in the book, and for me, the most memorable parts of the book were, like the way that they kind of build the relationships through the game, but then once they actually meet each other in real life, it's like a way bigger deal than it is in the movie. Yeah. So I don't know. They
want to put it in as soon as they see each other in real life.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Basically, it's a little upsetting, but like after I don't know. I still think the book is pretty decent. There's definitely a kind of sense of like pandering in a way, but the characters are what made that book for me.
Yeah,
and they kind of rushed some of that stuff in the movie.
I understand how probably in the book when they're like, and then the DeLorean shows up, and then the Spider-Man shows up, and then just like says a list of things that shows up. It's like, okay, that doesn't work in a book format. Yeah. But when you're looking at it, I can kind of see how it's a lot more interesting when you see, okay, I'm visually seeing this show up. Oh, now I'm seeing this. Now I'm seeing this. So yeah, I see why they really wanted to make this movie, and like, it's kind of interesting to see, all that stuff show up. Mm-hmm. So I think that's part of why it's kind of good.
It's kind of a weird, like, I don't even know if I want to. So usually when I would say something like, I was about to say, it's kind of like a movie event in a way, like sort of. And usually when I say like, oh, it's like an event at the movie, it's like it would be something like the Avengers or like like The Return of the King or something like that, where it's like holy, or like Force Awakens or something.
Yeah.
But for this, it's like in a different sense. It's more of like a movie event because it's like a amalgamation of so many different properties.
It's the biggest crossover of all time.
Pretty much. And like you could say like on one end of the spectrum, you could be like, wow, look at that fucking awful ass CGI trailer with like 4 million like properties from like comics and games, and like, oh, the Atari 2600, like I've played old video games before and stuff like that. But then another side of you could be like, wow, it's kind of insane that they were able to get, like, it's kind of weird to be watching a movie where like Tracer runs by on the screen and then Freddy Krueger is getting cut in half by like a ninja, and like all this kind of crazy stuff is happening, and it would seem like an 8-year-old's dream or something, but for some reason the movie still kind of works in some regard. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird to think about like the fact that this movie got all those properties and was actually able to put them into one art thing in general. It doesn't have to be like a movie, but it could be like a comic or like a video game or something. Like Kingdom Hearts, for example, like when someone saw the Final Fantasy and like Disney characters, they were probably like, why is this being made? How did they get all these properties? And then this is like way beyond that. So it just kind of like feels like a big deal, even though it's not like I think, an Academy Award-winning movie or something.
Yeah, I think the ideas of the movie are somewhat well thought out. Like the idea of, the dystopian future, and then people want to escape it with VR. Like that's a common topic like nowadays. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely interesting to get a movie about that. And then like all the other like political elements that go with it, people trying to like game it because the developer of the game offered like a cash prize that's like enormous. So now you have like the company itself trying to like figure out its own game, and like all these workers like actively going into the game to try to like figure it out and everything. Yeah. That's an interesting concept, and the fact that you have all those licenses going in with that idea of VR and like all that stuff, I can't be mad at it. When I'm watching the movie, like I can't be mad at these very interesting to me ideas, like things that I've thought about a lot. So that's why I can't be too mad at the movie, because it deals with those things that are just like interesting to me on a base level, as well as pop culture, movies, games,
everything we talk about in this podcast.
Everything we talk about.
No, but like, I feel like there's always the first thing that everyone always says, like, or has been saying recently, especially with the rise of like Vive and PSVR and Oculus and all that stuff, is like, well, we're gonna get to a point where like we're just gonna live in VR. Like people are like, as a joke, they're like, oh, I'm gonna come home and like you're just gonna be sitting on the couch for like 8 hours a day in VR, but that'll be your job or something. Yeah. Like something stupid where you're like, okay, sure.
My mom was like, we'll come and visit you in the virtual realm.
Yeah, exactly. Like people say that shit, and like especially like adults, like people who like don't really live with this stuff day to day or like read about it and are immersed in it. And then this movie, like people. They even mentioned it one time. They're like, yeah, well, we saw you go into your trailer 3 days ago and you haven't left. And it's like, that's kind of like, that's what we joke about. But people like in this timeline or in this universe, the world is so shitty. They're literally living in trailers stacked on top of each other in like the ghetto, and they just live in VR. Like that's all they have.
And they just play Wii Sports Resort all day.
Just all day. You just bowl all day. Getting strikes all day.
Vacation Planet.
I can bowl all day. I can bowl all day. Try and stop me.
Remember when they were talking about Vacation World or whatever?
That was
basically
lit.
Wii Sports Resort.
That's
bowl all day.
Essentially.
That's right. And the Wii Motion Plus.
Look, I would just live in the Wii shop all day, or in the Weather Channel, or I would just like live in like I would just live in the Wii.
What was I gonna say? Oh, the part where he buys the suit and it comes in that box. Wasn't that like a really real looking like box? Like you were like, damn, I want to buy that.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, that looks like the Vive.
And then when he's like unboxing it, you're like, oh my god,
that fresh, so good. That fresh unbox though.
Yeah, I liked that.
Yeah, I don't know. There's elements of this movie where it's just kind of like exciting. Like it just I get like a little like nerd excitement, but not a lot. A lot of it is like.
Let's get into some highlights and lowlights. Our new segment.
I like it.
I actually kind of like that.
Listen, I'm shooting from the hip.
That's right.
Jordan, let's get a highlight. What did you enjoy about it?
Yeah, let's try to be like, give us some pros. Give us some things where you're like, okay.
There are a few parts in that, like you were talking about, and Dan also, like about the actual like world, like the dystopic world. The only problem, like I like that issue, and they bring it up a couple of times, like even like the villain and Wade and like Halliday, like they talk about like, oh, you know, like you're focusing about all this stuff like in the game, but like the world is still out there, like it's real, but the like the low light of that is that they never explore that at all. Like the actual answer to all the problems are still just a video game. It's still just the game. Like they never escape that thing, which is like the worst part, because things are happening in the real world and then they're just completely ignored.
It looks like Children of Men outside.
Yes, and but it's never explored at all, which is like the worst part, because that's actually pretty cool.
That is explored more.
The bandwidth.
That's also explored more in the book a little bit.
Sure, but like, the movie itself doesn't do anything with that. It doesn't do itself any favors with that.
I feel like it would have been nice if they had maybe had some more, like the only time that they really did that, which I thought was done somewhat well actually, was where they blew up the part, like the trailers and the stacks. Like that was like a part where I was like, okay, they're actually gonna like, because in the book there's some like they explain a little more about like the specifically Columbus, like the city and stuff. It would have been cool if they maybe had some higher stakes like in the real world, where like
more involvement with like the rebel group that they're like dealing with, because like that part's thrown on the bus like pretty quickly too. Like nothing in the real world is explained in depth, and it kind of needed to be for me to care about what's happening again, because it's just like not like there's no stakes to anything.
Yeah, at no point did I transition from this is like a little popcorn diversion to okay, like damn, like I'm invested. At no point did I say I'm invested.
Yeah, but the thing is that I feel like there was potential for them to get there.
Yeah.
Like I feel like this movie wasn't a complete, like it was by no means like a just mess of a film. Like it was a pretty competent film in a lot of ways, I think, but it just never really went above and beyond like just being a popcorn movie, which is fine. I mean, those have their place. Like say I hate on Fast and Furious. They're not like terrible movies. I just get upset at the fact that like, you know, they're making like bro jokes and things like that. Like I get upset about that, but like the movies aren't bad. It's like Fast 5 is fun to watch. Like there's cool scenes in there, but like I kind of feel the same way with this, where it's like you can only do so much without it becoming like you can only go so far with it being a popcorn film before it gets a little like tiresome. I don't think this got tiresome for me. but I feel like it has potential too, for sure. Like, I feel like I very easily could have gotten tired of this movie if it was any longer than it was.
Hit him with a low light.
A low light?
The dancing scene.
When did
The
you
script,
cringe?
honestly.
The script is awful. The dancing scene.
The dance?
Fucking cringy
When
as
they're
fuck.
like, flying through the air.
When he begins his disco thing, I was just like, I have to look away from the screen.
We're doing
because
spoilers,
I
by
don't
the
wanna
way.
Yeah,
look
some of
at
that
this.
stuff was a little cringy. Okay.
when
I have
she like goes under his legs and then it like shows his crotch
That whole
area
scene is
lighting
like,
up.
Stop. Like, that's
Yeah,
just
so
dumb.
When that happened, and I was like, "There's kids here."
yeah, the low light for me would be the script, and then also just how, like I was saying, it never really, just for the entire movie, as a low light, I would say it never.
The entire movie was a low light. Wow,
Yeah, pretty much.
Jeez.
No,
Let's
like
fucking go,
it
dude.
never, it just never like lives up to what I thought it could have been. Like but it never really severely disappointed me either. It was just like, I'm disappointed that it wasn't a movie where I can like buy it or like tell people like, oh, you need to see Ready Player One because of like blank. I would, if someone asked me like, how was Ready Player One, I'd say it was good. Like, it was fine. And then like, should I see it? Like, you could probably wait for like the rental or something. Like, I would never like spur people to watch this movie, but I wish that I could, because it has a lot of pieces and a lot of elements of sci-fi and like nerd culture and stuff that I like, where I could say, I hit my mic, where I could say like, you need to see this because X, Y, or Z or whatever. Like, I can't really say that.
Listen, hit us with one more specific low light.
I have one.
Yeah.
Did I ask you?
Ahead. I don't know.
This one will be on your lowlights once
Go
I
ahead.
bring it back up. Is when he's talking to his name is Rick. It's his aunt's boyfriend.
Oh, no, I know what you're
and
gonna
he's
say.
just like the aunt's boyfriend is like, you're like a joke or something like that, and then Wade is
I
just
know what
like,
you're gonna
it's like,
say.
you wouldn't have done well even if you had the X1 pain suit, noob. I was like, no, you didn't just fucking call
Yeah,
it.
when he
You didn't
calls
just
him-
call an adult man in
Dude,
real life a noob.
When
you
he
fucking
called him a
loser.
noob,
Like, you fucking nerd, shut up.
I cringed really hard.
I
when he said
literally
that.
in my chair I was just like,
like, no.
I tensed up. I was like, stop,
no,
and then I had to like unwind myself because it was just so stupid.
You had to
that
give
was-
yourself a massage.
Yeah, I
that
was
was
like,
bad.
stop.
I'll try to think of another low light, but really quickly, are we doing spoilers?
Yeah.
Okay, so my highlight of the film, for sure, of the overall movie, was the Shining sequence.
Okay. Yeah.
Which-
I wanted
it
to
was
bring
neat.
that up. Yeah, that was interesting.
Like,
if only they had done it with something I cared about more. But
right, but so like, especially after having recently watched The Shining,
dude, what if they did Scott Pilgrim and
dude,
just like went
let's
into that
go,
world?
dude.
It would be the same movie.
That's a movie where they did nerd references and nerd culture.
Yeah, I was
very
going to compare
well.
it to that also. But go ahead.
So for the Shining scene, one, I'm really glad that they had no inkling of that in the trailers or like
Oh,
in
yeah,
any
that
like
was
promotional
it was a
material or
surprise.
anything
I
like
had no
that.
clue.
Yeah, I had no clue that. I don't remember all parts of the book because there are a lot of sequences where they go through like little challenges really quickly and they kind of do like time lapses and stuff. So I don't remember if that whole sequence was in the book or not. But I was very surprised at that whole part, and I thought it was really well done how like they used actual shots from The Shining with like the film grain and everything in like effect and intact, but then they overlaid it with the CGI like characters from the Oasis.
I thought that part was cool.
Like, that was really cool.
I wish that had been done in a better movie, because I was like, this is like a neat idea. I don't like what's happening in it really. Like, I don't care about the stakes at all. Like, I don't care about like the challenge that they're doing. But I was like, this is that's the Forrest Gump effect. I was just like, oh, like this is like a cool, like this is just looks like The Shining. And then, but it's a different movie happening inside of it, which is like a weird like thing to see. But.
Yeah, and it was like, I don't know, it was very strange the way that they did it, but it worked really well. And I don't know, that whole that whole sequence. I was like, this is amazing. Like, I can't believe they pulled this off. I can't believe it's in the movie. I don't know how they got like all this footage, like all that stuff. I thought was really well done. So
yeah, I thought that was done in a pretty novel way.
Yeah, I was very happy
What
with that.
about when H was going, oh, whoa, I don't know what's happening in here.
Yeah. I mean,
listen,
like,
the script cringy. It's
yeah,
bad.
the script is pretty bad in a lot of parts. But that whole sequence, like once they walked into, like once they showed the shot of, like the main little like area where he's always typing and everything, and I realized that they were going into the like literally into the movie. I was like, okay, this is really cool. Like this is actually really original and unique. But yeah, I don't know. That was very easily my highlight of the entire movie.
Yeah. I have to say that speaking of one of my highlights, for some reason when he like backed up and then at the start of the race when he was like, oh, you gotta go backwards, and then when he like backed up and he was about to hit the wall and I was like, oh, like go through like some platform 9 3/4 shot.
That's
or
what I
something
thought
like
was gonna
that.
happen.
And then like a door drops out and then he starts like going through this crazy like underground thing. I don't know why, but I was like, this is lit.
It was kind of cool, like,
Yeah.
and they were basically showing him going through the entire race as other people were, seeing the exact same sequence of events that we saw like 5 or 10 minutes ago, but from a different perspective and things like that. I thought that was really well done too.
And when when he comes out at the end and is like in that like pretty looking scene, and then the guy like presents him with the keys, like
yeah, and he like shows up, like all the scenes where
I got a video
Halliday
game like
shows up
joy out of
with
it.
like in the wizard form or whatever,
Yeah.
like in the like either in the ice or the crystals or whatever, in the leaves, all that stuff. It looked pretty dope.
Yeah, I felt like I had beaten it myself.
Yeah, like when there's a lot of little aspects where it like has just like cool like video game feeling to it and things like that, which I really liked. Which I feel bad like hating on the movie entirely, because I didn't hate this movie. I just a lot of parts were disappointing.
Watch Wreck-It Ralph. Got him. Or
I do want to watch that movie.
listen,
Spy
if you
Kids
want to
3D.
watch if you want to watch a live action video game movie, watch Spy Kids. No, watch Scott Pilgrim. If you
Yeah.
want to watch a very true homage to video games where like they're inside video games, watch Wreck-It Ralph.
If you want to see a movie that
If you wanna-
shits all over video games, watch Pixels.
That's right. If you want to watch a movie with Antonio Banderas, watch Spy Kids 3D. That's a classic film from my youth. No one is allowed to make fun of it.
I
No,
wouldn't
I'm just
dare.
kidding.
Shiitake mushrooms. That's from the first one.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, man. You know that Spy Kids is like really highly rated by critics.
You don't say.
It's true.
Huh. It's a good movie.
That's because they recognize the glory.
Yeah.
It was, well, okay, if you think about it, it was a
broke the
movie
mold.
directly, it was a movie directly aimed towards, unapologetically aimed towards small children, like tweenies, towards nut boys, nutty boys.
whoa.
Well, hold on. But it was directed by Robert Rodriguez, which is
It was
like
like super stylized action,
which is just
boy.
insane. Yeah, so like
No,
that
yeah.
would have been like if Quentin Tarantino, like back in the day, that would have been like if Quentin Tarantino directed like a Smurfs movie or something, and people were like, okay, this is gonna be like dumb as fuck. But
Quentin
then it's like,
Tarantino directed Scooby Doo. Oh shit.
yeah, something like that, where like some
That'd be
like
lit.
you know visionary director directs like a just a small baby film, and then it's actually good.
small
Like that's
baby
basically what Spy Kids was,
Yeah.
and it was a pretty like well directed and made kids movie.
That's right.
So look, I'll defend that to my dying breath. All right.
Okay, you're with
thought
friends
you-
here.
I thought you were against Spy Kids for some reason. I don't remember.
No, I mean, I think we make fun of. I have my mic. We make fun of the one where is it the 3D one where the grandpa is on the
Yeah.
moon and he can walk? Yeah, get the
He
fuck
takes
out
a
of
thing
here.
where he can walk again.
He's like
in the
Junior
virtual
or
world.
whatever,
Yeah.
or like what are their names?
Yeah, the guys or Junie.
Junie, that's what it is.
Junie.
Damn it.
My favorite part of Spy Kids 3D, make sure you watch it, but this is a spoiler, is when they're talking the whole movie about the guy. The guy is gonna like take us to the secrets. He's like the best player at the game or whatever. It's the guy. And then they meet the guy at one point, and it's Elijah Wood in like a white like sick suit or
lit.
something like that.
Fucking. Let's
And then
go.
it turns out he has no skills, and they just kick him to the curb
dummy.
immediately.
He's a
But
bum.
he's the guy, so yeah. I'll often like mention to my brother just like the guy or something like that. We'll talk about the guy.
We gotta find the guy.
Yeah.
Was that after Lord of the Rings?
Probably yeah, because he was like I don't know.
That's the role
Yeah,
that
I
pushed
don't-
him to stardom.
That was his breakout role.
Lols. Yeah. So the original movie we're talking about there.
Ready Player One.
Player One.
I think yeah. I don't have a ton more to say about it.
Yeah, no, not too much. There's it's in the trailers. There's a brief snippet of a Gundam.
Oh yeah.
RX.
Okay. Wait. No. We
We
need to
talk about
this.
this. Yeah, this is definitely something we need to talk about.
So they're fighting Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
It's the
As
final
you do.
fight.
No
of the
context
movie.
needed for that.
Like you do. Mechagodzilla is the antagonist, and then we have two Asian characters that we've been chilling with this whole time.
Yeah.
One of them is a twinny bopper. The other one is a small boy.
He's a nut boy.
It's a nut boy.
He's a nut boy for sure. Daito and Show.
He's literally 11
He's a
years old.
twink. No.
Oh my
not
God.
not the kid.
No,
I was
no,
talking
no.
about
Colter.
the
What the?
I was talking about the
Colter!
tweeny bopper.
Oh, okay. But he's still under 18. We can't.
We don't know that.
Well, I don't know. He didn't look under 18.
He was.
He
was.
But no. Okay, so yeah, they're fighting, and then one of them is like, "Oh, I have my like Ultima robot power up. Let's fucking go!" And then he
Except
busts
he doesn't
into
even
it.
say that. He just like
He doesn't say.
He doesn't say anything.
Yeah,
He's
right.
literally just sitting there like meditating.
He's charging up.
Yeah, and then
he
they're
goes
like, "We
into
need
his-
you out there, Daito."
Yeah. And then he hits the button, and he goes into his Gundam form.
Yeah.
But
And
not
he
before,
says something about Gundam.
in Japanese. He says,
Yeah.
"I choose the form Gundam," or
Yeah.
something.
it's
Or like I
lit
assume,
as fuck.
I assume the form Gundam, but it says "Donaga," like it like
wow, you
really.
just said an N word.
He literally like says
I'm gonna
he goes,
isolate that.
He
and then
goes
just
full anime.
use it
It
against
does.
you.
That part's incredibly anime.
Yeah, he goes.
Yeah.
That is full anime. That reminds me of Pacific Rim.
Oh, yeah.
where she's like,
yeah.
That reminded me
like
of that
I'll bring
too.
honor to my family or whatever, but she says it like
She goes absolutely nuts
like
and just
full
like
anime and just
Yeah.
yells it at the top of her lungs in
and
Japanese.
just like slashes
yeah,
someone with a huge like
that's
sword.
when that happened. I was like, let's fucking go, dude. And then when this happened, but it was with a Gundam.
Yeah, and we all know Gundam is like Jordan's pride
Yeah.
and joy, the only
Yeah.
thing that gives him happiness.
And so
in this
when
world.
that happened, I was like, Jordan's
we
love
both
this movie
turned to
more than
Jordan, we're like,
anything. Yeah, we're like, Jordan.
Listen, I laughed when he said that because it's comical. Like it's
amazing,
the situation
dude.
that we're in.
It's so
yeah.
corny. Like it's super corny. I did chuckle at it. I did cringe as well because it is. It's just it's so corny.
Okay,
like, that's
So you
come
didn't
on.
understand
At
the
that
irony of
point-
the situation that they choose the one like thing that's like your baby boy.
I
and then
knew.
we're
I
chilling with
I
you.
laughed. I was like, all right, like that's funny.
They got you.
I get it. Like you guys
Like,
got me.
It's really funny.
It's
dude.
hilarious.
What if it was SpongeBob?
That would be.
That'd been
I would have left
great.
the theater at that point.
Like, it would have been done.
I'm ready.
No, but like when that happened, dude, I couldn't cringe because it was so absurd. Like
It is wild.
it's so fucking crazy that in like we've already seen like 80 plus 1,000 plus pop culture references, and then the
Yeah.
very final battle is literally Gundam versus
Gundam versus.
Mecha Godzilla.
And that was the one action scene where I was like, this is fucking lit. Like, I want to see, like, I wish it was longer because it's only like 30 seconds.
Was it lit or not, man?
Listen,
you just
it's-
said it was
dude,
lit.
it was lit as fuck.
The intro to it is corny, but when they're actually fighting, I was like, okay, like, this is just a straight up, like, this wouldn't happen in Gundam, but, like, it makes sense. Like, Mechagodzilla is fighting a giant robot. Like, I'm down. Like, that makes sense. I was like, I'm into this, but then it doesn't last that long.
It doesn't last that long, but like
but it's still pretty cool.
when he's like knocking the Gundam around
Yeah,
and the
it's like,
Gundam like
fuck yes.
slides with his sword out and like
Yeah.
flies back towards him with his thrusters and all that shit.
Like,
I was
that
like,
was
dude,
cool.
that made me want to watch Gundam. I was like, dude, he has
Jordan
a
is
fucking
peanut
laser
was
sword.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, your peanut was just full.
You're watching and stroking.
My only qualm with that is that the Gundam, who's the Gundam, that's literally like the first Gundam, he should have destroyed a Mechagodzilla. That's just all there is to it. But
That's
don't
well,
work
just
he
your
out.
inner
did.
nerd
He did a lot of damage
speaking.
to.
Sure, he didn't even kill it. That's
He
just,
didn't, but he softened him up a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
The thing that killed it was a fucking koosh ball that she threw in.
fucking-
Okay, what was that?
That was like I've seen that before.
It's
It's
like
like,
a
one of those
dumbass, like,
squeezy
worms.
balls
Was
that I
it
think
from,
their
like-
eyes kind of like pop out or something like that.
No, I think that was from a game.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it was from like Twisted Metal or
Part
some
of me,
shit.
I thought it was
From, like, a
either
fucking,
Twisted
like,
Metal
worms,
or
worms, a hand grenade.
well, that, or I thought it might have been from Oddworld or something like that.
I don't
Wait,
think
isn't
they're
the
that
holy
in-depth.
hand grenade from Worms?
Yes.
Yeah,
But it's originally from Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
that's right.
Isn't that right?
I think so.
I think that might be the one they're referencing. I don't think they're referencing the worms one.
Yeah, but Worms is a video game
Yeah.
and Monty Python is not. So we'll take
But
it.
Monty Python is pop culture. So.
But Monty Python is also
I guess
right in
that's
that
true.
right in that 70s, 80s like pop culture kind of joke.
Okay. So it's probably not Worms at all.
I don't think it's
Because-
worms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throws it.
It'd be funnier if he threw it and a worm was attached.
Hop.
Nice.
All right, Yosh.
Yeah.
All right, Mario.
That's Ready Player One, I guess.
Yeah, all right. Are we
Shoot
going to
a
rate
review
it?
at Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this movie. I'm just gonna go for it. I'm
10
gonna give
out
this
of 10 for the
movie.
film.
Did I ask you?
For
Jordan,
for
what would you
letter
like to give this
grade,
movie?
I'm gonna
do
give
it.
this
Dane just talks whenever he plays.
I
his
know.
own.
You can't
Just-
control him.
I
Listen,
just can't.
now
I
you
can't
know
rein
how
him
I feel
in.
from last
I'm gonna give
episode.
this a C.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a C. C plus actually. I'll go with a C plus.
Now this actually makes sense percentage wise but C sounds bad.
It does sound bad, but I don't think it's. I'm not trying to give this a bad review. I won't say it's a fantastic movie, but I will say it's. I'll go with a C+ because I think it's a little better than average. I don't think it's. Like I said, I say this a lot. I don't think it's going to win any awards. I don't think this is going to be a movie where I'll rush out and tell all my friends and family that they need to watch it. But I had a somewhat good time in the theater. It was an enjoyable watch. I liked a lot of the action sequences. The music was good. I thought some of the acting was pretty good, even though they didn't have a lot to do. I don't know. It was overall just kind of like a very somewhat safe in a lot of ways, just action kind of sci-fi movie. It could have been more though, and I'm a little upset by that. So I just think it fell short of its true potential, and also in the same vein fell a little short of greatness. But I think it's certainly not bad. I'd say it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's aight.
I was gonna pick a random, like kind of a random film off the Wacky Film List and say, would you rather watch this or that? My eye went to American Graffiti.
I would rather watch American Graffiti.
What?
Yeah.
I
like that movie a lot.
So I was gonna
the movie
say
makes me
that
feel happy.
I would rather watch a movie like this where it's like pandering to my interests than watch like any like movie from the past or like any movie that's like, you know, on the Wacky Film List for the most part. Like, I'm trying to think of any movie on here.
I would rather watch any movie
that I would
on
rather
the Wacky
watch
Film List than Ready Player One.
That's a Savage. A Scanner Darkly.
I like a lot of the movies.
If
on
you're
the
going
Wacky
back in time, or if you were saying what's up to previous Dane, who had seen zero of these two movies, A Scanner Darkly or Ready Player One, which one would you have him watch? A Scanner Darkly being one of your least favorite movies on the Wacky Film List.
I would probably say Scanner Darkly because the reaction is much more like of something than the reaction to Ready Player One is.
I suppose, but like talking about the movie itself.
The movie, I mean, Scanner Darkly is barely a movie. it's more of like a weird experience.
Yeah.
And that's why I'd like to see past Dane's reactions to it. But I don't know, like Ready Player One, like I said, it's like a fine, like pretty good in some ways movie. It's not like I wouldn't say it's a film. It's not an art film, certainly. It's very far away from an art film.
That's insane that you would possibly not call it a film.
It's just a movie. It's like it's the definition of like a popcorn movie.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I don't have any severe problems with it, but I just feel like it could have been a lot more. So.
Yeah. Jordan, hit us with it.
I'm gonna give this movie. I've said my piece on it. I think first and foremost, if you come into this movie and are immediately put off by the pop culture references, you're gonna not like this film much as I didn't. But if you do enjoy that, you might find some sort of entertainment out of seeing them there. I don't think it's a great action movie. I don't think it's a great sci-fi movie. I think it has a terrible script. I don't like the characters. Listen, I don't like a lot of this movie, but it has some worth of just being like, yeah, like whatever. Like this is it's entertainment, and that's it. Like there's no depth to it. There's nothing. You're not going to glean any sort of like insight from watching this film. Like, which is why I would rather watch A Scanner Darkly. If you watch A Scanner Darkly, you're like, damn, like I've never seen anything like that before, and it makes you think a little bit. This movie, I didn't think once. I didn't think anything during Ready Player One at all, and therefore this movie gets a Ready Player 1 out of 4.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of why 1 out of 4. I was trying to think
low
of
as fuck.
why you guys differ so harshly from me on the point of watching, you know, art films or experiences versus entertainment popcorn movies. I feel like it's like I feel the kinetic like energy and like emotion of something that is clearly telling me a story and leading me down like a path. And kind of, you know, trying to hit certain emotions and beats and things like that. I don't know. Not to say that, you know, art films and A Scanner Darkly or whatever doesn't try to hit emotions or anything like that. But I don't know. I can feel the kinetic energy of a movie like Ready Player One more than I feel it from a Scanner Darkly or any movie similar to that. So
I think for me, it's that movies like Ready Player One and any movie that I would just say is like an entertainment movie, or I'm not being challenged by it. Like I want
an art film and entertainment film.
Yeah, there's entertainment and there's art. Like I want to be challenged by the things I see and like have it like leave some sort of impact on me. Ready Player One left nothing on me. Like I watch and go, yeah, like that was a CGI film with some stuff in it, but I won't think about it the next day. I won't think about it ever. But like again, movie like Scanner Darkly, which I don't even like that much. Like I think it's very interesting, and that's why I think it's a better movie, is because it's more interesting.
How does escapism factor into these judgments here?
That's interesting that you bring that up. I feel like escapism means like different things for different people. Some people like want to watch something and have it like, oh, like I want to have my escapism be like a fun like time to escape. Whereas like I don't need that. I want my escapism to be like, which is like why I would play a video game. Like I want to be transported somewhere, and I want it to make me go like, yeah, like I've never seen something like this. Like I want to be a part of this interesting world. And like a Ready Player One, I'm not part of that world because I'm not interested in it at all. And it doesn't challenge me to like become part of it or anything like that.
Okay.
I kind of like to talk about that. I feel like with I don't even know what a good example would be. I guess the first thing that came to mind is something like Donnie Darko, or like maybe like Brazil even, or something like that, where like a lot of the...
Wow, how dare you compare those two movies that I tried to compare last week and I was lambasted.
How did you try to compare them?
I wasn't lambasted, but I did try
I did not lambaste you for that.
I did try to compare Donnie Darko and Brazil, and you guys were like... You guys said that Donnie Darko was way more of like a regular movie than Brazil was.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that too. But like, what the reason I bring those up is because just in more ways than one, like, or like another example would be like Scanners or Scanner Darkly or anything like that. I feel like the reason like Apocalypse Now. That's one that Jordan and I agreed on that you didn't like as much. I feel like I enjoy movies that are probably literally defined as art films a little more, if not more, but I tend to enjoy them in general because I get a lot of excitement and a lot of like worth out of what a movie is making me do when I'm watching it, like rather than something that kind of gives me all the information and like knowledge that I need to like understand and kind of absorb literally what they want me to see and hear and feel. I like it when they kind of present things to me, and then I'm kind of left to like dwell on it a little bit, or like during the scene I'm kind of left to like interpret it as I will, and they're not like kind of beating me over the head with it. And I don't have any like specific examples, but like that's often why like a more vague like art film would be exciting for me, because I would kind of like, they've tasked me with like, okay, here's this scene, here's this like imagery, maybe there's not even any dialogue, maybe it's just like a visual, and then I kind of have to like figure it out for myself. I get a lot of I get more like meaning from that than in certain cases than I do if it's just kind of like spelled out for me.
I feel like in movies like Ready Player One or like any other like, movies that are like a hero's journey movie, like they're very like the story is simple. Like things, it might be a little more complex than that, but like the story of a hero's journey is a simple story. One person gets their objective for power or whatever they need,
which has its own merits,
and they get it and do it, and like that's fine. But like that's not the escapism I want. I don't want to see like, because that's fine. Like I don't need escapism to like take me out of like a sadness or something like that. Like if I'm sad and I watch a movie that's like touches upon that, like that means way more to me than like a movie that's like, well, I felt happy for 2 hours this time, but a movie that's like, wow, like I felt like just as bad as, or that movie made me think of like sadness in a way that like this movie, like a hero's journey movie, could never possibly do. And like that means way more to me than any sort of like action, whatever,
like something like, this is kind of random, but something like District 9, where like it is kind of presented, and like going into it you maybe think it's more of like just like a traditional kind of sci-fi movie, but it's more of like this kind of slow descent into like, it's just sad and depressing, and like the main character is just goes through like the worst possible like journey, quote unquote, that you could possibly imagine. Probably he just like is sick and like infected for part of the movie, and he turns into an alien and like loses all of his friends and family, and like by the end of the movie he's just become another one of like these drones and stuff like that. Like that's a movie where it's a very like non-traditional kind of journey or like path for like a protagonist.
Yeah.
That by the end I was left like thinking, well, everything kind of turned out really shitty for him. Like everything went wrong. There was no happy ending. There was no like clear resolution to like that whole conflict between aliens and the humans and all that kind of stuff. But then I think that leaves a little more impact because you're kind of left, like I said, like I like being like dwelling in that kind of stuff and kind of like questioning like, why did this happen? Or like, why, I don't know, like sometimes I don't need it to follow like a traditional, you know, ABC like hero's journey plot line or like traditional narrative, I guess.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, that's like a meandering way to look at it, but
I think that for me, enjoying the more, you know, the opposite type of movie, I think my most emotional I get like during a movie is when it's like, I can't believe I'm here with them experiencing this plot point or this like situation that's happening.
Yeah.
And like feeling what they feel in the moment. That's what gets me like more of the time. And I understand like the whole art thing, like dwelling on the meta-ness of it and like thinking about that and like how it is as a film and stuff like that, in addition to what you guys said. But I enjoy that feeling more.
I think.
Yeah, and I get that too.
I get that feeling, but I don't get it from like. This is just how like my brain is wired.
Yeah,
like
it's just harder to make that happen for you.
That happens to me, but not in a movie where it's like, oh, like I feel like there's great happiness with this person. Like that affects me way more when it's like a much more like contemplative or like even like sad. Like I connect way more with like these depressing movies like Apocalypse Now, Donnie Darko. Like those things make me go like, wow, like I feel empathy with that way more than I do with like feeling happiness for like this hero having his comeuppance or whatever. You know, like that is not how it. I don't get that emotional on that side of like the spectrum.
Listen, it all depends on who hurt you.
Yeah. The darkness inside me dwells.
Yeah.
It depends on how you were hurt and who hurt you.
All right. Well, we went in deep.
No, I mean, it's somewhat interesting.
Yeah. Deriving pleasure from films is a subjective phenomenon.
Yes.
Last thing I'll say,
can be discussed.
One movie that I've found the most pleasure in watching and thinking about was American Beauty, which is one of the most depressing movies of all time.
American Beauty.
That says a lot. American Beauty. American Gratuity, where just a bunch of people just tip for no reason.
16% because they had a party of 16.
A bunch of people tip 5% like Dane did.
Wow. Boom.
Just call me out.
Got him.
I will use tipping as a form of an insult to the waiter or waitress.
When they only do their job and nothing but their job.
And that's just sometimes not enough. That's so bad.
Listen, we can go into it.
Like people, no, we're not going to because
But
people are
we're not gonna
I
do
just
that
want to leave it
today.
here because people are gonna hear this and they're gonna think I'm a monster and I'm okay
That's
with
right.
that because we don't need to go further into it.
Okay.
They're right.
All right. They're going to think
Because
I'm a monster,
no,
and I'm fine
because
with
I
that.
know the truth. I'm not a monster. I just don't tip.
That's not true. You tip.
No, I do tip. I just sometimes I'll tip much lesser than
barely.
it's expected as a way of
with very small provocation.
With like digging at the.
Arbitrarily, one might say.
That's not true at all. That's not true. Like, dude,
Kidding.
At the fucking Kachina, fucking whatever it was, the cantina, whatever.
Oh, you're
like
talking about Mexican.
The generic ass
Mexican
like
cantina or
Azteca
something.
restaurant that we went to in
Yeah.
Pacific Place. Like, dude, that was some of the worst food I've had.
I think we
any
need to
Mexican
bring up
restaurant.
like service and like gratuity and stuff like that in the next episode.
We should bring that up because I have a lot to say about it.
That's right.
I have a whole lot to say. We won't do it
And
now.
we have a lot to say back to you.
Yeah, we won't do it now.
Okay, guys, that was our 1 hour long review of Ready Player One. I hope you got something out of that. And yeah, so guys, we want to move it on from that to video games, video juegues.
To Sherlock Gnomes.
To Sherlock Gnomes, the real film that
The
we
other
watched.
movie that we watched.
Now on to our 2 hour review.
Let's
of
go.
Sherlock Gnomes. With an intermission, of course.
Yes.
Because we know that you have to get up and go to the potty.
People gotta take a break sometimes.
That's right.
So yeah, let's get into some video games.
Let's get right into the games.
Let's start off with Jorsbins.
Okay. I haven't been playing all that much. I haven't been playing much since last week. Continuing playing like Dragonball FighterZ. I haven't been on a great streak lately. I feel like the game's matchmaking has started putting me against people who, like, it's stopped matching me with people who are like way under my level, and I'm getting either matched with people who are like comparable with me or just like miles above me. And so I've not been doing fantastic. My record lately hasn't been excellent, so it's hard to like be motivated to play it when I know I haven't been doing great. I should go into training mode and practice, but I don't have the urge to do it, so it's kind of been a bit of a bummer. But
it always sucks when you hit a wall. When you're increasing in ability at something,
and that's the point I'm at, where it's like, okay, like I can see what other people are doing. It's like, okay, I just need to get the button controls down to do it, because like I know what to do. I just don't have like the muscle memory to actually pull it off consistently, and that's the problem. It's like I can pull off a combo in training against a bot who's not doing anything, but when I'm playing in a game against someone who's like moving around and like trying to like cross me up and stuff, like I can't pull it off. Like I can't do it 100% of the time, which you have to do to like be competent at the game. So that's just like me. I just need to go and train, but I just haven't. But I will. I am continuing to play it. I'm hitting a wall, which isn't that fun, but it happens in every fighting game and every competitive game. So
that's right.
What it is. Other than that, not too much. Could probably talk about PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds new map, Savage, codename Savage.
I think there's something to be said there.
Dan and I downloaded it today, and Colter downloaded it too, but we weren't able to play with him today. But Dan and I played more than a few matches on it, and it's cool. It's half as big. Yeah, it's half as big as every other map. So what ends up happening is that the start of the game, the middle of the game, and the end of the game are filled with confrontation every minute. Like there's zero downtime in this game, like on that map, which is exciting, but also changes the way you play a lot. Like,
so is the game shorter?
Yes, it's faster.
100%.
Everything is faster.
I would say by multiple times, and I played one solo match by myself before playing with Jordan. I think multiple times by the end of the first circle, there were less than 40 people alive. Like maybe 35 people or less were alive.
Because like,
the other thing is that the circle is already visible when you're dropping in out of the plane.
I'm not sure if that's a bug or if that's
I think it's intentional
by design.
Because it's been like that for. And I watched like some streams of people playing it, and it was like that like the first day.
Okay.
So or like the second day or whatever. So
that honestly doesn't play into it too much for me, at least, because the map is so small that the first circle covers about like 85% of it, no matter what.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to be out of the zone.
You won't be like having issues falling, like getting killed by the zone at the start of the game, because it's just like it takes 5 seconds to get from anywhere to the next zone. So that's not that big of a deal. But I feel like the way that this map is set up is a lot different than the other ones, because there's like in the other maps, like a lot of the time, like you usually like the flow of the game is you drop down in a populated area or a town, get your weapons, and then you move out into like the wilds and like camp around or whatever, and then move to another outpost. In this one, at least when Dana and I were playing, we spent almost zero time out in the like in no man's land, and we're moving constantly from like outpost to outpost because there's a ton of them. Like the roads, you can't drive or walk like a minute without hitting another outpost. Like some of them aren't as big, but like there's always like groups of houses there, so you're constantly moving between houses, and people end up like migrating to the same spots all the time, and it gets hectic incredibly fast.
Yeah, and like when you're dropping in or like just moving around in general, you're never far away from something that would be comparable to the school or like
Pachinki or big cities.
Pachinki or like Yasnaya Poyana or whatever. Like any of those places, like basically when you drop in, there's like just off the top of my head, there's like Boot Camp Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie, and there's 3 separate islands that are all separated by rivers and bridges, and the river's not even that long, so it doesn't take that long for you to get from one island to the other if you have to move. But then so there's like those big like military-esque areas, but then outside of those there's like the river town, and there's like the manufacturing plant, and there's like all these big areas that would be, like I said, like comparable to like one of those zones that you joke about going to, like, guys, we're going to the prison or whatever, and then you know that as soon as you drop there, you're gonna like fight like 15 people. Yeah. It's like every island has, like every area on each island is that. So it's like no matter where you drop at the beginning, it's similar to something like Fortnite, where like anywhere in Fortnite. Like, let's go to Tomato Town or like whatever the fuck it is. You land there.
Let's go to Ding Dong
and
Bell.
it's oh yeah, you land there and you just know it's gonna be like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
And that's what it is on this map. But then, even moving between the little outposts between each of those areas, you're never more than, like Jordan was saying, like a minute away from like an area to loot. But especially, you're never more than like a minute and a half, like however long away from like another one of those like scary ass zones where it's like, well, we can't go there, we're just gonna die. You kind of have to go there because you have to get loot, and every single area is like that. So it's like you're always in danger.
This seems like everything I've wanted from PUBG as like a separate like map.
It's interesting.
It's much more different than like this Miramar was to the first map. Like Miramar, people don't like that map, but it plays kind of the same way. Like it's a little bit more like sparse. I feel like there's not as much like there's not that many more outposts you can go to in the desert map. It's like, okay, like I can't go to like the small outpost. It's either you kind of go to the big ones and that's pretty much it. Whereas in the first map, it's like, okay, there's a bunch of smaller like unnamed areas that we can go to and like get good loot. In the new one, it's just like you either go to these named areas or you drop in these little outposts that like guaranteed there's going to be people there, or if not, they're going to be right down the road, like within eyesight or like hearing distance. Like you always hear or see someone around you, and like that makes it fun, but also like the pace of the game is like it's so much faster than the other ones.
Yeah, and then even like the smaller places that we would land at, like the unnamed areas, we still got like, you know, an M4 with like 150 rounds of ammo or something crazy.
I think that might be the beta map is a little bit more like the loot tables are a little bit messed up. So like we're getting M4s all the time. We're always having 200 rounds. Like we're getting guns just like crazy. But I don't know if it's probably gonna be different when they tone down like the
probably.
The
but like every match we played, I had like a UMP with like I was geared up like I would be at the end of like 20 plus minutes in a regular match.
Yeah.
Like in the first like 10 seconds of dropping, I'm like, okay, here's an M4 here's 3 M4s in a pile with 300 rounds of ammo. Like that's just, it's a little absurd. I don't think that's how they'll keep it.
No, but yeah. I also feel like a lot of the map has a lot more like when you're inside a lot of these houses, like the outside, all the like villages are like in valleys kind of. So like on the outside of the like houses you're in, all the hills are sloping upwards, so you have people just like running down the hills at you, and like you can't quite see up there, but like they're gonna all be running towards you. And like that kind of is a different like fighting environment than like the first and second maps. Like you're never really fighting like up a mountain usually, like unless you are in a horrible position. But in this one, like most of the outposts are surrounded by hills, so you're kind of like moving up them and fighting, and it's a little bit different.
I actually didn't think about that.
Yeah, I like it a lot. And like we didn't really do this that much, but you can definitely see the like possibilities where like because the map is pretty much divided into 3 islands, you can use like the river to like traverse between all of them. And so like the jet skis and the boats are way more useful because you can go between them quickly, and also like if you need to, you can just go up on land and like you'll be at an area where loot is or where buildings are. So like it's
like
cool.
We took a jet ski and we're like, oh, let's just go up to this other island, and like it didn't take very long at all, and then the circle moved and we're like, okay, we can just go here instead, and we just ended up at a completely other spot, like without really having to go very far. So it's the pace is it's PUBG on steroids.
Yeah, it definitely
on speed.
I feel like the zone, like worrying about the zone killing me is going to be a non-issue on that map because it's like so easy to get to the next zone, which is fun, but also it's different. So
it's certainly
make
different.
That way you will.
Yeah, it's a certain like. I wonder if they'll add a map selector. Like a map, like a playlist option in this game where it's like maybe you do squads, but you do like squads like close quarters combat or something where it's like mostly leaning towards savage or like something, because I feel like the introduction of this is going to be such a different. Yeah, it's such a different style of gameplay than the first two.
I would hope not, just because that divides like the player base in not a great way. It's much easier to just have one hopper that everyone jumps into, because that way we can all. Like, everyone will want to play on the new map when it comes out, but no one wants to just play on that map once, like, you've played it 10 times in a row.
That's true.
You need the variety.
What if there is, like, it funnels all the people through the same thing, but you can check, like, which maps you want to be placed into?
Like preferred?
Yeah, like preferred, or you can literally, like, say which map you want to do, and so it'll only put you into a game that's already loading that map. Like, it still could, like, you know, divide people, but you're still all going through like the same funnle.
Yeah, that is a better way to do it, but it's still I still think that increases like queue times for other maps. Like there's so many people playing that game that I really that's like a non-issue, but still, like I think it's just more simple to be like, okay, I want to play, jump into the server and just choose the map for me. And also, like, they always do this when the new map comes out. It's like we prioritize this one for like the most part. You play this one like 80% of the time or something. So I'm sure they'll do that, but
I'm excited to play it.
Yeah, it's neat.
It's cool.
It looks nice too. It's kind of a more tropical, jungle-y looking
It's
area.
very bright. It's a lot brighter. Like it's very sunny. Oh, when we were playing, it started to rain randomly.
Yeah,
that was interesting.
Like Rainforest Cafe. Let's
go, dude.
Yeah, it's not that the match started out raining. It started sunny. Middle of the match, it started raining and a thunderstorm happened, gloomy. Which is way more.
And then there's a lightning round.
Yeah,
that's right.
No,
and then we started shooting. We did shoot from the hip a few times.
Yeah, a lot of it's fun. It's much more dynamic than the other maps.
And then you killed a man named Elfster.
That's right.
No, I would never do that. I would ask before, like, "Are you Elfster?" Yeah.
Is this Elfster?
Carry on.
Damn.
Feel free.
Thanks, fam.
Welcome.
Welcome. Here you'll find my body on a silver platter. All right.
So yeah, other than PUBG, whatever, not too much else. So
that's great.
Although not next week, but this month got some hot games coming out, such as God of War, Yakuza 6,
Nintendo
Labo 420. Let's get it, $69. Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. Let's fucking
I
go.
won't be buying that, but Yakuza 6, God of War, and I'm sure there's something else, but
dude,
those two games.
God of War comes out on 420.
Yeah.
So excited for that game. I'm very, very excited for that game. I cannot wait to play it, dude.
I will play it.
You never talked about your anime.
Oh.
Did you want to just bring that up real fast?
Sure, I can bring it up really quickly. I watched, this is an anime that came out, I think.
This isn't a video game.
No, yeah, not a video game.
This is Anime Corner.
Yeah.
Anime Corner will present itself at any given moment.
That's right.
It's a Netflix original, which are hit and miss for me from what they've had so far.
Is
it
Devilman Crybaby?
It is Devilman Crybaby, which is a silly name, but very much an anime name. I heard like fairly good things about this. I didn't know what it was really about, so when I kicked it off and started watching it, I was pleasantly surprised at what it was. Which it starts out with a young man. I believe
there's no need to feel down.
Yeah, no, he's. Young man, don't feel down.
There's no need.
He's a bit of a crybaby, hence the title. He's a sad kid, and he cries at other people's sadness. And at one point when he grows up, this is literally the first episode. He meets a friend. He grows up. They separate. His friend goes to the U.S. or something like that. This kid, he's a scrawny kid. He's a little bit of a crybaby. He's a weakling. And then his friend brings him to a drug party, which is a wild drug party. Yeah, it's much more like this is. It's rated the. Rating for the show is like TVMA. It's like incredibly violent, incredibly sexual. Like I wasn't ready for that because usually in a lot of anime, like even when it's sexual, like they don't show that much. It's just like, oh, like here's like this fucking girl's like thigh or something like that. It's like whatever. Like this is like full on frontal, rear, sometimes not like defined frontal nudity, but like they're just like straight up naked the entire time, which is like rare for an anime usually. So
yeah, usually it's not very gratuitous. Usually it's very stylized.
You don't, but.
Do you see a peanut?
You do see a peanut in a weird way. Like the thing is, this is because of Japan's weird way of drawing peanuts. Sometimes they just like
they don't put like both the sides of the peanut.
No, like there's a weird way. Well, they will draw it, but like it's supposed to just be like it's just like there. Like it's just like not like a sexual thing. Like it's literally just like. Like a long
like a
U
balloon,
and then like another U under like it's not really like well like defined. It's like a weird thing, but like
interesting.
It's not a focal point of what's happening.
There's the whole thing where like when it comes to female nudity, it's not considered nudity if the breasts don't have nipples.
Yeah, there are a lot of nipples in this.
And stuff like that. So it's like if like for example in Castlevania, like a game I was playing, it was rated teen for partial nudity, even though she was completely naked just because she didn't have nipples.
Yeah,
stuff like that is like, and in manga and stuff, it's like totally okay.
This is completely opposite. The themes of the show are like sexuality, violence, and devils or demons.
And sin.
Sin, yeah. Like there's a lot of weird stuff in there, but basically this guy, he gets possessed by a demon, one of the biggest, strongest demons possible, but he doesn't become one because his heart is powerful. So he maintains control of his self and like his heart, but he can transform into the demon, or Devilman as he calls himself. And he basically goes on and fights devils. The story starts out really fascinating. The characters are actually really good in it. The story by the end fucking jumps the shark so much that I was just like, all right, I don't like, the ending was horribly unsatisfying to me, not because it like leaves open-ended questions, but because the show goes in such a different direction that you would never expect it to end like the way it does. But I will say it's worth watching. The animation is really cool. It reminded me a lot of Redline, because it's very just like everyone gets like really like hyper like exaggerated. Like the animations are like super like wildly like fluid, like when they're running, and like it's cool looking. A lot of like flashing like colors and lights, and that's fun to see. But yeah, it's a fun ride. It's exciting, and also it does a good job with like the characters. You care about them a lot, and I would say it's a fun watch. I don't know, Colter, if it's up here. 10. It's only 10. It's a very short.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, it's worth it. So yeah, I would say watch it. It's
so blunt. I'll watch it.
I'll watch it. All right.
Yeah. So be prepared. It does go into a lot of like religious imagery and iconography, but in a very anime way.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah,
it's fine.
It's fine.
Well worth the watch. I did feel sad while watching it because a lot of the characters are like well developed, and without spoiling too much, most people meet an untimely end in this series. Like, I was just like, what is, like, I don't like this at all. Like, bad things are happening to people. I'm like, no, don't do that to that person. Like, I like that person. I like that character. Why is this bad? Why are bad things happening? But like, yeah, my only qualm with it is that the ending is unsatisfying.
That's upsetting
because it's just like, I didn't want it to end the way it did is the reason. But yeah, that's Devilman Crybaby on Netflix now. Netflix original.
As another part of Anime Korner, really randomly today I was on a Kotaku, and they had their spring anime guide, which I was perusing, and I am excited to watch. One, I need to finish the second season of My Hero Academia so I can watch the third season, which starts on April 7th, Saturday.
Check your clock.
And also I think on the same day, Persona 5, the animation starts, which I will probably watch because it means I don't have to play the game to see the whole storyline.
I won't have any part. I won't have anything to do with that series.
You're not going to watch the animation?
No.
You don't care?
No.
Really?
My qualms with the game are not that I didn't like playing it. It's that I didn't like the story at all or the characters, which takes away the one part I kind of did like in that game, which is the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I'll probably watch it just because it'll be very stylized and in Persona fashion. It'll be a feast for the eyes.
I'm sure it'll have good music.
Guaranteed. So I might watch that. But yeah, Anime Korner looks like the anime season is starting up hot.
Yeah,
in a couple days here. So maybe Anime Korner will continue.
Maybe so.
It's possible.
Not if I have anything to say about it. All right, well, let's get back to video games. I'll just go ahead. Why
video
not?
Legs.
Sometimes the announcer just says, hey, it's all about me.
It's me now.
It's my turn.
It's my turn, and I'm going in.
And it's your turn, and you're going in.
Guys, we've watched
Colter's turn.
We've watched the journey of me playing Rocket League. Back in the day of this podcast, I at one point was like, guys, I made it to Platinum. This is incredible.
And then
that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And we watched my journey to Diamond. That happened, which is 3 whole like ranks. Each of these is 3 ranks. Once I got to Diamond, I was like, I got there. How am I going to get to champion? That's never going to happen. So I've been working hard ever since then. And I was at Diamond 3 for a long time.
A long time.
On this podcast, I've talked about it. My struggles. I've been very close many a time. It's happened a lot. But last night it happened. I got to champion. Woo! Let's fucking go. Let's go, Dad.
Dude, let's fucking go, dude.
Guys, if you ever want to do anything in your life, if you work hard enough, you can get there. All right?
Let's go.
This means a lot to me. No, I'm just kidding.
This is my life.
No, but
this is my life's
the highest point in your life.
This may be the best thing that's ever happened now. But yeah, no, that was exciting. And yeah,
Did you?
Do I have to keep going to? Okay. Also, the other thing. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, did you immediately stop playing once you hit champion?
Well, yes. Yeah, I haven't
like,
played
I'm
a game
good.
since
I'm
I
done.
got there. Yeah, it's like I'm not gonna D-rank tonight.
Yeah.
Like
Not
you
tonight.
gotta.
I gotta stay there for a while.
I could easily D-rank, and I probably will.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was like, okay, I'm winning like consistently. I know how to like beat these guys now. Like, you know, when you have like a breakthrough, like we talked about hitting the wall.
Yeah.
But
Once
then
you
there's the
break it,
breakthrough.
yeah.
And that's a beautiful time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like I'm at a breakthrough of sorts. But I'm certainly... So the other thing I was going to bring up is that people, when I bring this up, are saying, oh, so is that like the best rank there is? It's not. There's still...
It's up there.
It's champion 1,
real
2, and
close.
3. And then grand champion is the highest rank that you can beat.
Grand champion doesn't have 1, 2, or 3. It's just
No, yeah, it's just grand champions, the highest rank. So yeah, I guess, I mean, I'll see how far I can get. Grand champion is pretty insane. Like amongst the Rocket League community, if you can get to champ, like it's widely known that you're like a good player. Like you can say, okay, I'm good. Like at that point.
Do you know?
So yeah,
a percentile of like people who are.
That's
at
the
that?
other thing is that no, I don't know that. I do want to figure that out somehow, but the ranking systems like aren't as robust as, or like the statistic systems are not as robust as, you know, like something like PUBG even, where it shows you like your exact percentile.
Or like Overwatch, you can find it out through like a third-party site or something.
Yeah, you might be able to find it out like through a third-party site, but I haven't really looked into it too much. But yeah, as far as the like highest rank thing goes, we'll see if I can, you know, make it any higher. Like once you get up to grand champ, it's like you literally need to make this like your life goal.
Yeah.
So I've said that in the past about champion. Like I need to literally play every day if I want to do this. No, if you're like, if you you know,
Just keep
put
up
in
with it.
put in a certain amount of time every day, you don't need to like, you know, dedicate your life. Like
It's not like you're grinding out for 8 hours a day.
because it's largely, there's a lot of mental stuff going into it too. You know, as with any competitive game, it's as much mental as physical.
I think that honestly, to bring this back around to me, because I like to do that.
That's right.
For Dragonball FighterZ, the type of fighting game is like way different than Street Fighter or even Tekken. Like Street Fighter and Tekken are slower games that, like, for me, I'm able to focus on defense in those games and like punish. Like that's what I like to do in those games, is play defensively and then hit the opening, and you can punish someone for that. And like in Tekken, like that was the not easiest, but like that was the best way for me to play that game. Was like, okay, I know how to play, I know how to dodge, and then like I can just punish people right afterwards. Dragon Ball FighterZ, like, it's an offense game. Like you need to be on offense all the time without stopping, and like that's a bummer for me because I'm not that great at keeping up like offense. I can't keep that going.
Keeping up with the Kardashians.
Yeah, and that's not how I play those games. Like it's like, oh, like I want to like take it slow, but I can't, which is like hard to change like your play style like that.
Yeah.
Because that requires me to like completely change like my mindset on the games. Like, okay, like this is not how I mentally like attacked each of these games before.
Exactly.
Like, now I'm completely changing it up, and also the technical like part of it is still different, which is like,
because you get ideas, I'm sure, with Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Thank you.
You get ideas of like, okay, if I just do this, then I can like win more games or something like that. But then you try that a lot and you're like, okay, that doesn't work every time. So you need to keep like refining your idea of how to like beat your opponent.
That's literally what it is too. And like, and it's hard because those games are based around like teams of 3. So you're working with usually people want to set up like, okay, your first character that you come in with is like your character that you start with, you're good with, they can hold their own by themselves. And then you have your other 2 characters that come in, like your assist character and like an anchor character who will, if you get messed up, will be your final character that you hold out with. It's like, okay, like I can do okay with all 3 characters, but I'm not great with any one singularly, and also I can't combine them together, which like when you see people play like at these high levels, they're like doing these combos, calling another character, keep the combo going, and like they just get these like endless combos going on. It's like, I don't know how to do that. And like I've tried like baby steps, like, okay, I'll start this combo this way and I can do this and I can do this, but like it's so much harder like doing it in the game when things are on the line. It's like, okay, well, like I could try to do this combo on an opening against someone, or I could just do the one I always do less damage, but like not fuck it up and like leave myself open. And like it's hard to like commit when you know you can be punished afterwards, which happens.
Yeah. Also, me and Jordan played like a couple doubles games. And then people were very rude to you at one point.
I didn't fight back against this dude because we were losing, but he was like, "Oh, you can't even aerial." I was like, "That's just not true." Like, I've aerialed plenty of times against you. Like, we beat those people one time before. I was just like, "All right, man. Like, take your
they were literally
take your pride."
Was that when I logged out that night?
Yeah, it was after that. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
To me, the guy was like, "You need to like go solo, bud," or like,
he's like,
you
need
to drop your teammate." Yeah. And then like after they had said all that stuff, I was like, "There's this cool thing called real life friends."
It's like, okay.
Yeah. So I thought I hit him hard with that.
That's so rude.
And I will admit, it wasn't my best performance, but I hadn't played that game in a while. Like, it matches me up.
It doesn't matter. Like,
Colter, when we were playing, is ranked Diamond 3, like Division 3.
Yeah, it's not... I want to apologize to you guys formally because it's very unfortunate. It's an unfortunate situation to be like ranked super high and then try to like play with your friends.
Yeah,
at
it's
the
like
same time.
it ranks me like, and I could hold my own against some people, but like there are just times where it's like, okay, this person obviously deserves to be at Diamond 2, and I'm at Platinum 2. I'm just like, listen,
which is literally like
it's an entire tier, three
tier,
tiers worth of gameplay like rankings between us. It's like, okay, I'm like,
it's not fair. Straight
it's not
up.
fair.
Yeah.
But it forces me to at least try harder, but it doesn't always work because some people are much better than me, and I know that. But I still like that game a lot. So
fun stuff.
Yeah.
A big moment in my life. No, just kidding. No, but
landmark game and achievement.
That's right.
Congratulations, Colter.
Thanks, bud. There's also a new update with tournaments mode. I already talked about that a little bit. There's a new playlist of music. It's kind of cool. I think maybe it's only like 5 or 6 songs, whereas the last one was like 10 songs or something like that. And they're all bangers, such as "Love You Need You"
by Slushy.
Yeah.
The spring stuff got added.
Yeah, that was an earlier update, but it's still going on. There's the spring event going on. Some cool items. Not that insane, but yeah, there's a new crate just came out like literally a couple days ago called the Triumph Crate.
Okay, I wouldn't say the spring. I feel like the spring stuff is the weakest of the event like stuff so far. Like the other one, like the Halloween and the Christmas stuff, had like fun, cool things in there. This one, I was like, I don't really like anything in this except for like one like banner maybe. Yeah. But
I think it's also because that's not our aesthetic at all. Yeah. It's like springtime,
like
flowers,
happy, like flowery rainbow stuff. Like,
yeah,
it's fine,
unless it was like anime.
Yeah, if there was like anime like flower sunshine stuff, like this is fine. But like it's just like very like
Japanese,
like artist like arty like fun like childlike ish colors and stuff like that, and it's fine. But.
Yeah, although there is donut wheels, which is
okay. Those are,
that's lit as fuck. I would take those.
I also got a donut player banner where it's just like a lumpy ass character just going like taking a bite out of
donut.
Donut.
A donut.
Donut.
It's like it's
like good donut.
What's the name of that Pokemon that we were talking about? Swinub. Yeah, Swinub taking a little bite of a donut.
Oh yeah.
That's
right there. I wish that was a player banner. That's cool.
Just Swinub.
Yeah.
Just Swinub.
Swinub eating a donut.
In the corner, like really small.
Just chilling.
It's just a white banner in the corner. There's a little Swinub, and it just says your name.
That'd be lit.
That would be lit.
They should have like a, what do you call it? A
Pokemon
minimalist.
Yeah.
A minimalist banner where it's literally just white, except for one tiny little thing. Yeah. Anyways. Cool. Dane, have you been playing Slime Rancher or what?
What? No. There was a big update for it recently, I think.
Okay, well, can you tell us about it?
Can you get out of my life?
At least tell us about it.
I don't know anything about Slime Rancher, alright? Alright about it? No, I haven't played Slime Rancher. I've been playing... Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay.
What have you been playing?
What?
You're stalling.
I've been playing some more Far Cry. Quite a bit of Far Cry, actually. And then a little bit of some Nino Kuni's 2's Ding Dong Dell Adventure.
Ding Dong Dell
sprinkled
Kingdom.
in.
Adventures of Ding Dong Dell.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know. I've played more of Far Cry 5 than I probably should admit to playing. I think I'm like 20 plus hours now. I want to say like 20. I think on Steam it was saying like 21, 22. I find it really easy to just turn that game on, and like especially if we're in Discord talking and it's like hanging out, it's really easy to be like, okay, I'm gonna go like do some outposts, or like kind of like a Skyrim scenario where it's like, okay, I see this like fort, this looks cool, what's gonna happen if I go over here, or like I kind of make my own fun. Like I'll, be flying a plane or something, and I'll think, okay, what if I line my plane with C4 and just like crashing into this like outpost, or like do something crazy, or like
just normal everyday thoughts.
Yeah, or like, oh, there's a big convoy that I have to take out. Like I'm gonna set up like a Rambo style ambush where like I line the bridge with C4, like sit super far away on this like mountain with a sniper rifle, and like, have my direct my partners or whatever to like hide near the bridge and then like take them all out or something. Yeah, like that kind of stuff. It's not very like novel. It's not anything like super earth-shattering, but it's just fun. Like I just like, it's fun gameplay. But I've slowly started to kind of find myself getting a little bit bored with the game because I don't like the way that they've taken the progression system. And this is like something I didn't really get into last time when we were talking about this. I mostly just talked about like surface level, what the game was about and stuff like that. But now I've played the game more. Basically the whole like system of building up your resistance meter and like, taking down outposts, killing cult leaders, like burning things down, blowing up property, like all that kind of stuff is fun. Like there's a certain fun to be had with like just causing mayhem, and like it's like the shooting mechanics are pretty competent, and like the shooting feels good and it's pretty satisfying in the game, like with the shotguns, the assault rifles, sniper rifles. I now have all the weapon slots unlocked, so like I right now I'm rocking a silenced 50 cal sniper rifle. I got my AK, and then I have like my like Spaz 12 like semi-auto shotgun. So I have something for every situation. So it's like I feel confident playing however I want, really, and sometimes I'll switch out the...
Can be Chris Kyle or Sandy Ravage.
That's right. Exactly. Or sometimes I'll swap out the shotgun for... most of the sniper I'll swap out for like a crossbow or something, or like the compound bow. So, I just... Sometimes, like... because of the fact that they've taken away some of the progression systems I like, which I'll explain a little bit in a second, but like I make my own fun mostly now in that game. Like the storyline is not that great, honestly. Like the characters are somewhat interesting. Like the villains are interesting from like a kind of like from a viewpoint as like, oh, okay, let's make the most extreme like version of this type of personality possible. Like be the villain of this area, or like let's make this person like a literal caricature of just like a demonic, like really evil person or something. Like it's fine, but it's not really drawing me through the game. It's mostly like the minute-to-minute gameplay and what I'm choosing to do in the gameplay, which is like entertaining me. But yeah, with the progression system, basically like in the other Far Cry games, you would have sort of like a general RPG. Like you would just do things and you would get experience and you would level up, and you would like, when you hit level 15, you get like, you unlock this string of abilities that let you do like takedowns or something like that. But or you can unlock more ammo, or like you can get a third weapon slot at level 20 or whatever it was. And now like you don't level up anymore at all. There's no leveling system or experience system. Instead, all of that like kind of progression is more like environmental based. So like you're really like leveling up like the area that you're in, or like unlocking new like activities or something. You're not really progressing as like a player, which is a little upsetting. Like you basically, the way it's set up is like you have a perk tree, and it's split up into like survival. So it'll be like things related to like hunting or gathering materials, or like things that you can use to like traverse the environment or something. And then there's like player-based stuff. So like you get more grenades, like you reload weapons faster, like things like that. And then there's like combat-based things where like you
death from above.
Yeah, like you can jump, kills. You can land on people, or like you can do like the classic like takedowns where it's like you grab someone and then you take out their gun and shoot somebody and then throw a knife at somebody, and like crazy stuff like that, which is always cool. But none of that is based on like in the other games, you would, in order to level up like that specific tree or something, you'd have to like do a certain number of takedowns on somebody like without somebody like seeing you, or like you'd have to kill 5 people in quick succession with a shotgun, or like something crazy like that, and you would get like a perk point or something. You can level up that tree. And this one, it's like you just have like a literal, like not even joking, like a literal checklist where it's like, okay, kill like you look at the little shotgun portion, and it's like, okay, kill 10 people with a shotgun, and you get 3 perk points, and you don't even really get points like based on. You don't. Those points don't have to be used on like something combat related. Like you can just do this shotgun challenge, and then if you don't even give a fuck about like the combat stuff, you can just put those points into like health or like something like that, which is fine. But like none of the things you're doing pertain, like they don't level up what you're doing. It's just like you get general points that you just put towards whatever you want.
Yeah.
And it's like not. I don't like that system.
I feel like it's much like progression is much better in the other games when it's just like, I cleared this outpost, I got 500 experience, I leveled up, and now I have a point to spend, or now I just unlocked this thing, instead of being like, kill 10 people with an assault rifle, kill 10 people with a submachine gun, kill 10 people with an whatever rifle. It's like, okay, like, that's fine, but like, it's just a check, like, it's just, it turns the game into a checklist, which is like not what you want to do at all.
It's literally a checklist, because the part that I got upset about, and the reason that I realized I didn't like that, was because I was using a lot of assault rifles, I was using shotguns, sniper rifles, I was taking down a lot of outposts, I was hunting, like I wasn't going out of my way to hunt animals, but whenever I would see them in the wild, I would take the time to hunt them, and then I would get points for like, oh, you skinned like 10 grizzly bear pelts, or like you destroyed 5 silos, or you took down 5 outposts or something, then you get the perk points. But then once I did a lot of the things that I'm typically doing, it got to a point where I wasn't getting perk points anymore, and I couldn't level up what I wanted. So then I had to go in and look at the checklist and be like, oh, I guess I've never used a suppressed pistol. And so then I guess you could say that it kind of like encourages you to change up your playstyle and like try something new.
Yeah.
But then it's like, literally all I did was I put a suppressor on my pistol, I got 10 kills with it, I took it off, and I never used it again.
Yeah, I feel like that is a really bad way. It's like, oh, grenade launcher kills. It's like, fuck, I'm never use a grenade launcher except for this one time, and then just put it away.
Yeah, like, and it's like, I literally just, like, I did that. I equipped a grenade launcher, or it was like the flamethrower that I equipped, because I had to do a mission where I had to burn some things down, and then I kept it, and I used it to kill, like, it was even less. It was like 5 people. Like I killed 5 people with this flamethrower. I got 3 points, and then I never touched it again.
Yeah.
So like that kind of stuff is just goes against how I want to really play the game. So I'm just kind of starting to get a little frustrated with that. But like I said, the things that I'm doing to make the game fun for myself are still entertaining. Like Far Cry was always, I think, most fun when you're being a little ridiculous and like insane with the way that you take down like enemies or something. Like I've actually literally taken a helicopter and loaded it with C4 and dropped it on people and just blown it up, and I'm like, that was fucking awesome, because I just like it wasn't like a scripted event. It was just literally just me being like, I wonder if like if I get shot at, like will it shoot the C4 and blow up my helicopter? Like what's gonna happen? And so I just had to like kind of do this like weird like break the game sort of thing to like see if I could do it, and I could, and it was fun. But like the actual like scripted story stuff is not all that great. There's a lot of like really, really bad like moments in the script, and like I don't know, like the overall game I won't say is bad. It's just the storyline, and like if anyone's going into a Far Cry game for the story, I'm sorry, but this particular one is not.
Last time you had told us that you had been captured by your enemies twice. Have you? How has that? Have you been captured any more times yet?
No.
You haven't been tried?
Or one other time.
Okay.
So I finished that first area with John, who's the guy who basically like recruits, or he's the one who like
guy.
He's the propaganda, and he's the one who like kind of spreads the teachings of the cult and like to like most of its members and stuff. So that one was fine. I got captured those 2 times, and then the last, which I appreciated that the last time I didn't get captured. The last time when I filled up like the last little bar, it prompted me to like, he called me and he was like, oh, like this whole time he had been kind of sending troops to attack like this one specific town, like the main hub area of that area, and he like called me in and he was like, oh yeah, I've taken over like your town, like if you want to come rescue your friends, I have them held hostage at like this church or whatever, and then you go and you fight them, and this whole thing happens, and it's fine. It's not anything like super crazy. And then the next place that I decided to go to was the one with the girl Faith, who is basically like the brainwasher, and like she's the one who like recruits people and like uses like the drugs on them to like melt their mind and like, you know, mold them into what they call angels, which are like these like essentially Vancouver zombies. What was that? Was that
East
Vancouver?
Hastings? Yeah.
Yeah, it was they turned them into East Hastings zombies, where like they're just these wandering like zombies essentially. Like in the game, they literally are like zombies. They attack you with their hands and feet, and like they just run at you, and they look like fucking like crazy manhunt-esque like inmates or something crazy. But yeah, so that area, it's kind of interesting because she's presented as they call her and like her people angels, but they also, I think one of the characters actually describes her as a siren. So basically she's like really manipulative, and she doesn't really even do anything like in terms of like violence or anything. She'll just use like in combination with the drugs, she'll just like kind of be really persuasive and like say some weird shit and like kind of try to brainwash you. Sort of like she kind of reminds me of the mom from Get Out with the tea or the coffee or whatever. She's kind of like that, but like when you're wandering, it's kind of interesting. When you're wandering around her area, she'll just appear. Like you'll just hear her talking in the middle. Like it actually kind of creeped me out the first time it happened. I was walking around, it was at nighttime. I was in like the middle of like this field, and then all of a sudden, like from far away, I could see like this lady in like a white dress like spinning around in the field, and she was like singing like this weird ass song, and she was like, "Come on, like what are you doing? Come over here." And I was like, "Where is this voice coming from? Like what's happening?" And then as I got closer, she was like, she would disappear and then start talking to me, and since I'm wearing headphones, it'll like sound like it's right behind me, and I'll turn around and she's just standing there. And like she'll kind of appear randomly when you're walking around, and she'll just say shit and like weird. Sometimes like a person will walk up to you in that area, and they'll be like, "How's it going, man? Like I heard you did like such and such at like whatever location that you just cleared," and then you'll try to talk to him, and it'll turn into like an animal and attack you, or like she'll try to like kind of play mind tricks on you. So that's been a little interesting. Man. Yeah, it's pretty much it's supposed to be apparently the influence of the drugs in the area or something. It's like making you go all wild. But
what did we say about the girl in Outlast 2 where she like talks behind you? She's like, "No, sorry." Remember that? Didn't we like have a name for her or something? Or we were just like demon bitch or something, but like
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like devil bitch or something. I thought
we had some bit about the way she talked, but I can't remember.
I think we would just always go like
yeah, just
she always like that was the she was basically like the Doom voice, but the female version,
but a stroke.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. So in conclusion, I guess the game, I've been seeing some cracks in the facade, but the gameplay of it is still interesting to me, and it's still, pretty fun. It's just
you're still playing it. So
I'm still playing it. I mean, I still have fun when I'm playing it. It's just like it's mostly just me turning it into the typical Ubisoft game where it's like now I'm going out of my way to be like, okay, I'm in this area, there's an outpost over here, on my way there I'll blow up this silo, I'll make sure I kill like this group of people, like that kind of stuff, which has its own kind of appeal in like a pure gameplay sense. But I think the game could have been something, I actually think the game could have been something pretty great if they had just delivered a little more on the storyline, maybe added some more like gameplay diversity or something. But yeah, so not bad, but I think it could have been a shakeup that the series needed if they had gone in some different directions with the gameplay. Maybe added more focus on the narrative or something. I don't know. The narrative is a little too free form. There's not a lot of stakes.
Yeah, I feel like not having, like, granted, none of the main characters in the other Far Cry games are that great, but having them be a voiced character lends some sort of, like, weight to the story, like, in some way. I actually, like, really remember the Far Cry 3 story. It's, like, kind of interesting because it's just, like, this, like touristy, like, white dude gets dropped off in this exotic place, and, like, it's not a good story, like, politically, because it's like this white dude becomes the white savior and saves everyone because he's this great hero. And it's like, it's really dumb, but that's if you do the good ending, which I don't know if people remember this. There's two endings in Far Cry. There's like the good ending, the bad ending. And I was like, listen, this guy that I played, he comes from the like middle of like the fucking suburbs, gets dropped off on this like exotic island, starts killing tons and tons of dudes. I was like, there's no way this guy is gonna like commit this good ending where it's like, I'm gonna save these like island people and like get my friends out and we're gonna all go back down to like fucking Houston and like live our day in the suburbs. So I did the evil ending where he just fucking kills everyone around him and like goes crazy. I was like, that should have just been the main like story of the game, because like that literally makes way more sense than him just being like, we did it, guys. We escaped the island. By the way, I murdered fucking 4,000 people on the way out. But hey, bud,
the
it's
crazy
great.
part is that like in this game, you're like an unnamed, unvoiced, like a silent mute deputy. Like they literally just call you deputy. I'm assuming like I almost wish they would have had a thing where like you could choose like a name and it could say like Deputy Ramirez or like Deputy Johnson or whatever. But now, so they just call you deputy. But in the third one, I think your name was Jason.
Yeah,
and like
Jason Brody is his name.
Is it really Jason Brody?
Yeah,
it definitely was. Okay, that's such a bro name.
Like, you literally look at it, you're like, yep, that's a Jason
that's
Brody.
That's just a white man.
That's Jason Brody.
It's a white male.
It's
that's
really
a cishet
bad,
white male. No, but like in that game, they even kind of acknowledge the fact that like in those Far Cry games or any first-person shooter, they never really acknowledge the fact that you were killing like fucking countless people, like in Uncharted or something, where like
Nathan Drake is a murderer of men.
Yeah, where you just like kill like 500 people and then Sully is like, all right, bud, let's go. Like
you want to have a
go
beer
home
later?
And it's like, sure, bud. But in that one, like they acknowledge the fact that he starts to like revel in the fact that he's killing all these people, and like he's like, oh yeah, like I feel like powerful, or I feel like whatever, because like
I feel big.
He definitely he says shit like that. He's like, man, I feel something I've never felt before.
Like he gets like really alive. Into like this tribal like killing and stuff like that. And it's like it's just like it's weird to see his descent into like absolute chaos, and but like you can easily like just ignore all that with a good ending where he just like he literally like saves his friends and like drives away on like a fucking jet ski, and it's like it's so dumb.
It is,
but it's
really
like
dumb.
The evil ending, he like it's so like bizarre. Like I remember this because of just how crazy it was, and like normally I choose the good ending because like I like being the good guy in the games, but in this one I was just like, no, like like this doesn't make any sense. It makes no damn sense if this dude makes it out of here fine. So like the end of Far Cry 3, he's like having tribal sex with the leader of the group, and then just goes crazy, kills her, goes to his friends, and they're like, Jason, like, aren't you gonna like save us and get us out of here? And then he just like, no, and then he just kills them all. Like, just goes crazy. It's just fucking bizarre. And like,
does he become like the new tribal leader?
He becomes like he just gets fucking insane at the end. But I was like, that makes like sense in this game because this dude just literally
like he just lost his shit.
Becomes absorbed in this killing, and it's like okay, like I like that. But like if the main character brings Far Cry 5, if they can't talk at all, if they can't do anything, like
no, they can't. And like, and that's the upsetting part.
No
it's like. And the thing is, again, like I think I brought this up last time, but really quickly, I know we're running a little long, but like with the whole narrative of Breath of the Wild, like all sense of urgency and like weight to the storyline is sort of lost because of the fact that the game is so open, which is part of the reason I really like Breath of the Wild. But in like from a Zelda like single player, scripted narrative kind of aspect, it's not that good. Like it's kind of disappointing. So with this game, it's like. It's interesting that you kind of do all these typical Far Cry or like Ubisoft things, but to fill up a meter and like kind of progress through those things naturally. Like you can go kill outposts, or you can literally just like go through and run through like organic events, and you can still get to that point and see the storyline. But all sense of urgency or all sense of like weight to that story is completely lost because it just happens randomly and like on different like time periods and things. So like it just doesn't feel right. So I don't know. Yeah, that's for me, like that's why the storyline, and also just like the actual story things that are happening are not that interesting. But it also loses all sense of even it being like, it doesn't really feel like a narrative because it just keeps happening so randomly. So it's a little disappointing, but like I said, I've been making my own fun, so it's been good. And then I've also been playing No Kuni 2, which I don't have a lot to say about because I'm still...
Ding Dong Dell.
It's look, they have brought up Ding Dong Dell a few times.
Do you laugh every time they say it?
I sure do. Okay. No, I mean, I smile.
I do.
I definitely smile. I'm like, oh, Ding Dong Dell, it's such a great name. I don't have a lot to say about that game right now. I will say that I'm still enjoying it quite a bit. Man, they take a long time to ease you into the, like, it's definitely a JRPG in the sense that you don't really feel like you've started the game until probably like 10 hours in.
Yeah.
So I think I'm like 6 hours in right now, and it's still very much like drip feeding me a thing. It's not really a tutorial anymore, but it's like they're drip feeding you new gameplay mechanics. I haven't like gotten to the point where I'm in like kind of like a groove of things that I'm doing. It's like I am still working towards the next big thing. Yeah. So it's a little frustrating, but that's just the way it goes with JRPGs. Yep. So I'll probably have more to report on next week with that. That's all I got.
All right.
I went a little long on the Far Cry. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You hate the game.
I hate it.
You had a lot to say about how you hate it.
About how the game is really bad.
No. All right. Well, guys, we've hit you with it. We've hit you with everything you need to know.
That's right.
This week. About this week.
About it.
And another episode in the can, in the books. Guys, if you want to contact us, you may do so. I will allow it. Go ahead and hit us up at It's Not So Subtle on gmail.com. Well, there's no on symbol, so we're going to have to go with at. It's Not So Subtle at gmail.com. And you can hit us up at It's Not So Subtle on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go.
And you can go ahead and check out our website, itsnotsosubtle.com, to check out the other movies on our Wacky Film List. Peruse, which one you want to come up next when we pull a film. We're not pulling a film this time because we already pulled it.
We are watching Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, hopefully. If all goes according to plan. Yeah. If Freddy doesn't get us.
There we go.
I always, for some reason, thought Freddy was Friday the 13th.
Yeah, that's why I got confused. Earlier today, I was like, "Oh, it's Jason." It was Freddy. Like, they're confusing. Listen, their names.
Look, Freddy and Jason were both in Ready Player One.
Yeah, listen. Blank and blank,
Jason.
blank and blank. We're in Ready Player One. Please fill out the blank. It's a Mad Lib. You can just add whatever you want.
Mad
to
Lib.
it.
Kermit wasn't in there. He might have been. Yeah, we don't know.
Dane, where can they find you?
Well, guys, it's really quite simple, actually. Lane to Point.
I hope so.
Lane to Point on Twitter, Instagram, and most video game services. And that's basically it. I don't really have any funny bits to add to this. And I know you're happy about
that. You never have.
Whoa. Oh, shit.
Oh,
sorry.
Personal attacks. Let's go,
It's
dude.
just the Encyclopedia Britannica one. That really was.
Look, that was really not that good.
Just saying the name of that bit is
just the vibe.
Just saying that is just terrible. Look, the Pornhub bit I thought was pretty good, but I'll be honest, I thought it was pretty good. But
it's a good bit.
I think it was wearing a little thin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you do something a certain amount of times, it gets boring no matter what it is. Sex?
No.
No.
Just no.
Never.
No, I don't know about that. Yeah. So, Land of Point, guys, hit me up.
Eating? Don't need to eat anymore.
Wait, hold on. And then also, I'm gonna pimp out my Tumblr.
Okay.
Hit us with it.
Stupe-san. Stupe
This nerd.
spelled as you think. Which doesn't make any sense because no one knows how to spell that. STUPEI-SAN. Stupe-san. Lit ass. Actually, recently it's not been that much anime stuff. It's been like cool ass, like
Korean
aesthetic, like
said no anime.
vaporwave.
He said no anime.
Yeah, no anime. I hate anime. All right.
All right
about it. No,
You've just been chill vibing it.
Yeah, there's a lot of chill vibes, a lot of cool concept art, a lot of like
dreams.
It's kind of my place to post like weird, like a lot of the stuff I've been seeing recently is like weird like Tumblr memes, which are just great. Like Tumblr has its own little like weird sense of humor, which is interesting. So yeah, hit up that. I might change the name actually to something more cohesive because right now it's
something more spellable.
It's geared a little more towards anime, and it's not all anime. So
cool.
Most of it is, but not all of it.
All right. Let's throw it over to Jorsman's.
That's right.
You can find me, Jordan Miller. At
Jordan Miller.
The Killamilla.
Jorsman's
on Twitter, Instagram. You can find me at Jordan Miller on Facebook. The Killamilla, also my video game moniker and Twitch handle as well if you want to. I haven't been streaming too much lately, but I might. If I get into more Dragonball FighterZ, I'm going to start streaming that when I play it, because that might give me incentive to perform better once the pressure's on me, but we'll see.
Or maybe I'll crack.
You might see a man break if you watch one of those streams, so tune in.
We'll for sure be playing Savage and hopefully streaming it. I would like to.
Yeah, we have been streaming some PUBG lately, not that lately, but every now and then, so please tune into that. So yeah.
Can we commit to streaming Savage together?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Also, Tenzo-Taicho on Tumblr if you want to follow my anime.
How do you spell? No, never mind.
Yeah.
All right. You can find me, Colter Potter, at Colter Potter. I almost forgot my own
Your own name.
my own name.
I thought you plugged
Colton P. Patini.
I thought you plugged it along with Not So Subtle, but I realized you
didn't.
just passed it off to Dan.
Yeah. At Colter Potter on Twitter and Instagram and Twitch. Twitch is it's one of my it's the thing I've updated most recently. You can see my little avatar on there. It's little Colty Potson.
Colton
It's the great Patini.
It's a great Coltino. Coltino's Pizza Rolls.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Hi, I'm
Colstinos, actually.
Coltina.
So yeah, now that the camera is out, so are we. So thank you guys. We'll see you next week and goodbye.
See ya.
Sleep.